604 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing. Got you a busy Friday show as we're taking you into championship weekend. At least that's what it is up in Omaha, Nebraska, as we're getting ready to help carry the Tigers across the finish line at the College World Series. We got a busy show for you this morning. It's kind of all over the place. I'll give you the rundown in just a minute. But you know how we start. Top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Grabbing this one from the Daily Report, the first phase of dredging of City Park Lake and Lake Erie is now complete, and construction has begun on a long-awaited May Street Bridge, a 2-lane span with 14-foot protected pathways for pedestrians and cyclists. So the redesigned corridor over there by the University Lakes will connect City Park Lake and the University Lakes. It aims to improve traffic flow and safety at Dalrymple and East Lake Shore. May Street closed back on June 4th. It will remain off limits to cars and pedestrians until the project's anticipated completion date of August of next year.
Number 4.
Baton Rouge police are investigating a shooting that left 53-year-old Huey Saunier dead. Police responded to the corner of Canonicus and Navajo Streets Wednesday night around 9:04 p.m. They found Saunier suffering from a gunshot wound. He was brought to the hospital, later died from his injuries. After an initial investigation, police said that Saunier was shot a block down the road where he was found at Calumet Street.
Number 3.
EBR deputies arrested a suspected gang member Thursday who was still wanted after a series of arrests connected to the Vultures gang in early June. 47-year-old Rico Andrews was arrested, charged with conspiracy and drug dealing charges. Andrews allegedly escaped a raid, leading to a huge influx of law enforcement, including a helicopter that circled the area near O'Neill and Old Hammond Highway for the better part of the day on June 2nd. The other people arrested were booked on gun, gang, and drug trafficking charges.
Number 2.
The family of Sergeant Caleb Eisworth, who was severely injured after a targeted attack on Jor Road, issued a statement thanking the community, law enforcement, and other officials. The statement from his family came after a blood drive and jambalaya fundraiser for the officer. In it, of course, they confirmed that Eisworth is still in critical condition. They offered their thanks, and, oh, by the way, the jambalaya sold out in under an hour.
Number 1.
Today is the first day of summer, and with that, we have a heat advisory in effect from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow, and we will have, pretty extreme heat throughout the weekend as well.
Well, President Donald Trump on Thursday signed an executive order to keep TikTok running in the U.S. for another 90 days.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. Man. So there's that, right? I mean,
another extension.
Yeah.
DJ Khaled at this point.
That's it, man.
Another one.
Another one. Man, so get it in, man. When are we going on TikTok, Brian? Let's take the show on TikTok.
I'm on TikTok.
The show itself?
No. The show's not on TikTok.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Who else would agree? Leave comments on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, we're on Facebook Live, courtesy of Lake Urgent.
Yes.
Here. So,
absolutely.
We're also on YouTube Live. But I'm never in the comments on that side. I don't even know if anybody's commenting over on YouTube Live. I've only got so many screens at my disposal.
You're right.
So yeah. I know there's folks at Facebook, so I go to Facebook.
Yeah.
Although TikTok, we've had a couple. We had Salt Pepper Oak when they came in last Friday.
They're killing it, by the way. Man, not just food wise. I mean, like on all fronts. I mean,
the social media presence is huge.
So good. Well, Brian, the world's largest 14-foot great white shark contender, which has swam 1,870 miles over the course of 142 days, can now be tracked by users worldwide thanks to the folks at OSearch.
So this shark's been pinging up and down the East Coast. I'm surprised 14 foot is the biggest great white. That might be the biggest in the Atlantic.
Maybe.
14 foot. I mean, that's big. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I want to say there was a 15-footer, huh?
I thought there was a 17.
Wow. Yeah. See.
I don't know. I'm an avid Shark Week guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Shark Alligator Rule.
There you go.
A Shark Alligator Rule this morning.
Yes, indeed.
Started off with the Shark Alligator Rule. So, I'm a big Shark Week guy. We follow the sharks every single year. By the way, when is this year's Shark Week? You know what?
Did it happen already? No, it didn't.
No.
Okay.
Uh,
But
Give
yeah,
me a second.
nonetheless, I mean, and not to say 14 foot is by any stretch of the imagination small, but I mean, man, that's
Kicks off July 20th.
okay.
Yep.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. Can you believe Shark Week has been around since 1987?
87, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Dang. For
Yeah.
some reason, I was just thinking, like, I don't know. Or at least maybe the time I was introduced to it, maybe like mid 2000s.
Yeah, that's when it really caught fire.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when it really, really got hot. But yeah, it's been around since
Wow.
87.
Nice. Good stuff. Well, the first Baton Rouge location of Dave's Hot Chicken officially opens in the shopping center of Rouse's on Burbank and Lee.
So
And-
I got to go to the sneak preview on Wednesday.
Oh,
First of all, couple things. I want to be fair to Dave's Hot Chicken, okay? They've got some kinks to work out. Now, I don't know if this is a thing once they're officially open and just doing their jobs, but when you walk in the door, they shout at you.
okay.
Yeah. Like,
That's different.
yeah, it's not like, welcome to Costco, I love you. You know, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's like, welcome to Dave's Hot Chicken. It's the whole team did it. Like, everybody
Yeah.
walked through the front door, kind of to the point where I'm like, okay.
Like, simmer down.
Everybody, yeah,
Simmer-
dial it down.
Yeah.
Put your efforts into the food. Took a good minute to get my food out to me, but once I did, the difference between the medium, so they got like 5 or 6 levels of spice
Yeah.
for the Nashville hot. The difference between medium and hot is the difference between looking over a ledge and jumping over that same ledge.
Okay.
I mean, it is the difference between like, oh, this has a little pop versus, oh, this is molten lava.
Yeah.
It's so I had one slider and one chicken tender.
Okay.
The slider was medium and the chicken tender was hot, and I probably should have done that in reverse because the
Ooh.
slider has the coleslaw and the pickles and the bun to kind of absorb some of that heat. So medium heat on the slider. Oh, and it had the sauce on it as well. Medium heat on the slider, perfect, wonderful slider, awesome slider. Hot on the chicken tender, and I felt like I just looked at the Ark of the Covenant. My face just melted.
Man, yeah. Well, I'm intrigued for sure. I definitely have to get out there because, man, it looks so good.
Yeah, and the flavor was there, to be sure. We're going to have them on in the next week or so. See, here's the thing. It's got to be beef all summer long for Foodie Friday.
Right.
So that gives us the opportunity to splurge on days that aren't Friday,
There-
right?
Hey.
The Louisiana Beef Industry Council, check them out at beefandSwitzerdinner.com. They bring you Foodie Friday every week. You know what? They don't own Thursday. They don't own Tuesday.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're going to have to skirt the rules here and just get fed.
Yeah,
How about it?
really. Chicken Wing Wednesday, you know.
Ooh, well, it's not wings, though.
I know, but still.
It's
It's the
tender.
most clever thing I could
It's
think of.
Tender Tuesday.
Chicken. Tender Tuesday.
Well, we
There
got
you go.
Congressman Carter at 8:35 on Tuesday. We might have to look into
Yeah.
next Thursday. A little chicken tender Thursday. We can do that.
Sounds good. Yeah.
6:13 to talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Running a little bit long right there. Jay Johnson met with the media up in Omaha ahead of the final series. He was also on off the bench yesterday with Matt and Jake and Matt. We will have some audio from head coach LSU baseball head coach Jay Johnson next. They're going to force us to shut that door, aren't they? Is it bothering you yet? I know once he gets into a bit, it's going to bother me, but not yet. In the mall. .616 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Going to preview Coastal Carolina in just a little bit. Taylor Sharp from our sister station 104.5 ESPN going to hop in at 6:35 to do that. Right now, though, let's talk a little LSU baseball, but I want to rewind the clock back to their last game. You go into the ninth, you're down 5-3, right? One of the questions heading into the game and coming out of the game was, are you going to see Anthony Ianson? Does LSU really want to get this on lock? You know, how important was having yesterday off? Did you want to lock it down with the Wednesday win, or could it spill over to Thursday? How badly did they want to make sure that things got done? Well, Coach Jay Johnson was off the bench yesterday with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn, and talked about what would have happened had they extended into the 10th.
When we got the lead 2-1, it was the last 9 outs were going to be Chase and Anthony, and we're going to win it last night to give us the best chance to win the national championship. And then it was going to be Anthony in the ninth, and then it was tricky because I felt like if it got to tomorrow and we had to split the game between Cade and Anthony, we were going to be in great shape. But that was going to significantly hurt our chances of winning this weekend if we had to do that. So we went pretty aggressively at it. And then if it had gone to the 10th at 5-5, he was coming in the game. I was like, there's no way I'm letting this team with the effort they just gave to get back to 5-5, there's no way I'm letting this team lose this game. And that meant Anthony was going to trot out there.
So had we gone back out, it would have been Anthony Ianson. But as it stands, he didn't have to, and LSU has their 1-2 punch coming up on Saturday and Sunday. 6 p.m., 1:30 p.m., respectively, by the way. Your first pitch on Saturday will be 6 p.m. You'll hear it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. 1:30 p.m. on Sunday, also Eagle 98.1. And then it's back to the evening if it spills over to a third game on Monday. It'd be 6:30 if the game is needed. Meanwhile, this is not Jay Johnson's first rodeo. Of course, LSU wins the national championship in 2023, but it's not his first time taking on Coastal Carolina in Omaha. Way back in 2016, Jay Johnson was Arizona's head coach and had this same opponent heading into the championship series.
I'm very thankful for that. I think that, when you get to play all 8 games of the tournament, you get kind of a feel for everything, where to practice, the intensity of it. I feel like that was really valuable and really helped, when I came to LSU, just in general. And playing with a lead, very important. That really stuck out, that one. And then just, it's baseball, and you learn that real quick, and just I've always lived by not attaching circumstances to play. I think that's like the worst thing that you can do, and that's truly the case. And that team they played great here. We just needed one more base hit, and otherwise we would have won the championship that year too. So I think probably just getting the totality of what Omaha is was probably my biggest takeaway.
6:20, here's the Fox Business Report. All right, let's head back to the Shawbills Tire Traffic Center real quick, see what we've got going on. As far as Fridays are concerned, it is about normal on the interstates right now. Giving a look here, at, starting off at 12 westbound, coming in from Denham Springs. What you're looking at here is your normal level of Friday volume. It's actually pretty light. No real congestion along the way. I-10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish is looking good as well. 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish is fantastic. Both bridges are looking good. I-110 is looking good as well. I say I-110 is looking good. BRPD posted up about 20 minutes ago that there was some congestion on 110 northbound right near Scenic or Chippewa. So I don't know if that's still out there or not. It's not showing up in yellow or red on the map, but it is on the board, so I report it there. And then that's really the only blip on the radar on the board. Everything else is looking great to start off your Friday morning. Yeah. 10, 11, and 12, please. .624, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. I'll give you that guest rundown for today. Who are we talking to? We got Taylor Sharp stopping by from OTB from 104.5 ESPN. Coming up in our next segment. We got the folks from Lake Urgent Care popping on board at 6:52. We've got House Speaker Phillip Devillier as best we can get him. I was texting back and forth with the speaker yesterday, and trying to get him on the show, trying to get a little recap on the session, and maybe talk about a couple of other items that are pertinent right now. And Speaker Devillier said, happy to come on, happy to talk about whatever you want, but I'm going to let you know I'm on my way into Baton Rouge at that time, and I'm going to be in a spot on the interstate where, cell service is spotty at best. So we will do our level best once Speaker Devillier comes on. We'll talk about what got across the finish line with insurance, what didn't, how they pick back up next time around, how much other stuff there was during a quote-unquote fiscal session. Also, maybe we want to talk a little bit about safety of our elected officials in the wake of what happened in Minnesota. So we'll talk with Phillip Devillier at 7:15. 7:35, it's down in New Orleans. We're talking with Walt Leger. We got some more tourism to talk, but also I want to ask Walt Leger from NOLA and Company specifically about the fairgrounds down there. And you might be thinking, Brian, why does that matter in Baton Rouge? Well, first of all, horse racing is a $4 billion a year industry in the state. Okay. And that's a gross number, not a net. That's not what the state makes off of it. I'm just saying it's kind of a big deal. A lot of people have horses, and the bigger ones around Louisiana focus on the fairgrounds, but it looks like they're packing up and moving as if the fairgrounds aren't going to race again this year because of some kind of push down by Churchill Downs about having a certain type of betting machine in the fairgrounds itself. Anyway, I don't know all the details of it, and I don't know the ramifications of it, but there's a bigger thing here in play for something that's world-renowned out of New Orleans that happens at the fairgrounds, and that is Jazz Fest. So if you lose the fairgrounds as a racing venue, does the fairgrounds get lost as far as being kept up? Does the fairgrounds get lost as far as a facility is concerned? Does it become like the next Jazzland, only in the heart of, well, they're not in Gentilly, but, they're like much more in the thick of New Orleans as opposed to Jazzland, which is way out in the east. So what happens with Jazz Fest when it comes to the fairgrounds? We'll talk with Walt Leger at 7:35. 8 o'clock hour, 8:15, we got Johnny Dunham from Crime Stoppers bringing Ned Fasullo along with him. They've got a benefit concert coming up that you're not going to want to miss out on, and we will wrap up our guest list with the folks from Chris's Specialty Foods at 8:35. We're talking ribeye burgers. We're talking Wagyu hot dogs. I'm told there might be steak involved at some point. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. And, of course, Foodie Friday presented every Friday by the folks at the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. It is 6:28 at Talk 107.3 FM. It is What is our temperature this morning? 73 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Not that bad to start off. We're looking at heat alerts as the morning wears on, or the first weekend of summer wears on. We do have some heat alerts that are in the forecast. Emma Kate Cowan will have that at the bottom of the hour, coming up in just a little bit. We're talking about Walt Leger and Nolan Company, just west of New Orleans in Metairie, Louisiana. Big old milestone at East Jefferson General Hospital in Metairie. They successfully completed their first heart transplant. How cool is that? It was performed on a woman in her elderly 60s by Dr. Jamil Borgi, Dr. Sasha Vukelich. Dr. Vukelich says the patient recovering well at home right now. Cut 10.
We need to maim our own immune defensive system to trick it to accept this new heart. So there is a lot of management after. Usually during the first year is more difficult, but after that it becomes stable.
I would hope for better terminology. Than that. Highly technical process, remarkably skilled and gifted surgeons that pull this off, a heart transplant. I mean, that is something to be shouted from the rooftops around the world about that level of skill and about that level of accomplishment. The problem I have is the doctor says we have to trick it. I mean, we're gonna make the immune system think, oh, look, got your nose. Oh, is that a quarter in your ear? We're talking like world-class surgeon here. He's like, is this your card? Dr. Vukelich says while the procedure took about 2 hours. Oh, and my apologies for saying 60s was elderly. I was Ron Burgundying that. I was reading the copy from our news partners, Louisiana Radio Network. Dr. Vukelich says while the procedure took about 2 hours, recovery time is considerably longer.
People leave from hospital after 2 weeks to 3 weeks, and the full recovery, including the healing the chest, because there is opening of chest, is around 2 months.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. You don't have to trick that too, do you? Anyway, big old milestone for East Jefferson General Hospital down in Metairie. It's 6:30. Here's news. It took everything in me not to say means big trouble for moose and squirrel. Yes, we have to trick immune system. In Soviet Russia, immune system tricks you. Nobody gets that joke anymore. The number of people who still know who Yakov Smirnoff is dwindling by the day.
Oh, for sure.
Is Condon being reserved because the door's open? There he is.
Yo, guys.
What's going on?
I gotta tell you, that's professional stuff.
That is, man.
We have our internet, our Facebook feed monitor, our video monitor propped up on two. Let me be very clear: a garbage can and a recycling bin.
That's right.
The
It's not
garbage
two
can-
garbage cans.
Like a wooden. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. 2 days in a row, I was told, like, he comes in, assesses the damage. Okay. All right. And then
Word.
He just leaves. But he said he may have to do another bracket. That's the last I heard. Was he may have to do a
You
bracket.
pulled it out of the wall.
That's what Bo said. Bo said John just ripped it off the wall.
I mean, it.
Dude, it swivels. So I just did a little swivel.
Why would it have swiveled away in the first place? That's the part I want to know. Like, why would you have a reason to reposition it?
I don't know.
Once it's up there, it should be do not touch.
So I gave it a little swivel.
So how much do you know about
Good.
Coastal?
They're studs.
I'm a crap all over them.
It's fun.
Okay.
Their coach has Vitello energy all over him.
He's a dick.
Yeah, well, it's just kind of condescending too. Like the other day at a press conference, and he's like, "I just want to make this clear. It's Chanticleers. It's not Chanticleer." I'm like,
You've got nuts on your chin either way.
right. Yeah, like if you see your mascot, no one cares if it's Chanticleers or Chanticleers, buddy. Also, Tony Vitello's listed at 5'11", and there's no way that's true.
If Tony Vitello's 5'11", Musso's 6 foot.
No, that's what I told Flynn the other day. I was like, if Vitello's 5'11", I played college basketball.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Yours?
I'm guessing Kevin Ford.
You know what? Yep. Ocean waves. That's what it says on the side. Gotta be K
That
Ford.
would be Kevin Ford.
Gotta
for
be
sure.
K Ford. Hey, Chuck P spot.
There's a spot in there with Abby Lee.
Abby Lee, yeah. Jake was telling me that the other day. Jake's like, didn't Abby Lee leave at like 2021? It's like, I don't know.
Thereabouts. Just go to it.
I definitely knew that. Definitely knew that. Big summer solstice guy.
Longest day of the year.
Is it?
Longest day of the year.
Okay, well, look, today if Victoria's like, man, today felt long. I'll be like, summer solstice.
Yep.
Radio lady told me.
She's a TV lady.
TV lady told me.
Emma Kate.
Emma Kate.
Emma Kate Cowan.
Emma Kate sounds like a girl on like Toddlers and Tiaras.
Maybe.
Like Emma Kate's competing today.
Yeah.
That's.
She sounds like she's walking back to her dorm room wearing my button-down shirt. Was my mic on for that? Oh, shit. 638 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. 'Tis the first day of summer. And it's going to be a hot one this weekend. Hope you got someplace cool to sit down at about 5:30 tomorrow evening if you're tuning into Eagle 98.1. Chris Blair will be on the call for the LSU Sports Radio Network as LSU taking on Coastal Carolina in the final round of the College World Series. Joining us now to talk about it, Taylor Sharp from our sister station 104.5 ESPN. How are you, brother?
I am good, Brian. It is Friday, man. It has been a long week, but we're here.
Yeah.
We're ready to go.
Technically, it is the longest because today's the longest day of the year.
Yeah, I did know that. Big summer solstice guy.
Summer solstice, huge. Okay, LSU playing Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina coming in riding a 26-game win streak.
26, yep.
Okay, last time they lost was on April 22nd. Do you know if they lost to?
I do not.
The College of Charleston.
Makes sense. Baseball power.
Yeah. I'm not trying to take away anything from the Chanticleers, okay? I'm not trying to take away anything from that. 26 games is great at any level, right? But when you're looking side by side of what Coastal Carolina has done to get to where they are versus what LSU has done to get to where they are, is it the same thing?
Not in the regular season, it's not. I do think Coastal Carolina's had a really tough postseason. And look, everyone's going to say, okay, 26-game winning streak, you're facing a hot team. You got to remember, LSU season was on the line against Little Rock. You've won 6 in a row since then.
Right.
And kind of dominant fashion outside of the Arkansas game the other night. But look, it's best on best. And you could say, okay, well, Taylor, that's obvious. This is the championship series, and they're both undefeated in Omaha. When I mean best on best, I mean both pitching staffs, you essentially have everyone available. Your starting lineup, as far as 1 through 9, fully healthy, ready to go. Like, this is best on best. This is what college baseball is.
Yes. So, and when you say best on best, the best of the best is the Southeastern Conference.
Yep.
Like, and I'm not trying to crap on their run at 26 games in a row. But when you're running the gauntlet of the SEC, you are not going to sweep every weekend series and every midweek game. I mean, along the way, Coastal has beat, they swept UL Monroe, who went 8-22 in the Fun Belt. You swept Old Dominion, 22-31 overall.
The Monarchs, baby.
Yeah, you're beating App State. You know, and like you said, postseason was a little bit different.
Yep.
They go to the Sun Belt tournament. They beat Georgia Southern, Marshall twice, and then Southern Miss. And Southern Miss is legit. Eagles to the top. We love them. You go to the regional. You got to take on the likes of Fairfield, which I thought was a Marriott property. You got to take on East Carolina. Then in the super regional, you beat Auburn twice. So you get some legitimacy there. But, I mean, it's not a day in, day out grind like the SEC is.
No, it's not. And I just mentioned, I thought they had a tough postseason. LSU kind of had a pretty easy path to the World Series. But when you get into the World Series, LSU, UCLA, Arkansas, all on the same side of that bracket. Mm-hmm. No offense to Coastal Carolina. You had to go through Oregon State, Louisville, who most people didn't even think was going to be here, and Arizona, who, I mean, they're good. They're not what they were 3 or 4 years ago. So
you mean when Jay Johnson was there? I
mean when Jay Johnson was there. Look at LSU. I get it. Their path to here was easy. You played Arkansas 5 times this year, and you won 4 of them.
Right.
And a lot of people thought Arkansas could be the most complete team in the country. That is what we had heard really since March. And you got them 4 out of 5 times. Like, that's not easy to do.
Arkansas was what, the 3 seed heading in?
Yeah.
Behind Texas and Tennessee, who also are
Texas and Vanderbilt.
Texas and Vanderbilt.
Neither made it out of their regional.
That's right. But they go in as the 1 and the 2 after coming out of that Southeastern Conference gauntlet. I don't think that should be overlooked here. And I also think it should be overlooked that when you are Coastal Carolina, and I talked with Musso about this yesterday, the biggest thing they had going for them in 2016 is nobody saw them coming.
Yep.
Nobody saw it. It's like the first time.
You're not sneaking up on anybody because
you're good.
You ousted LSU in the Supers. Right. LSU remembers that. You beat Arizona in the finals. Jay Johnson was their head coach.
Right.
You're not sneaking up on anybody this weekend.
Right.
I will give them credit as saying their pitching staff is really good. They have 3 legitimate starting pitchers.
Let's talk about it.
So Cameron Flukey's their Friday guy, even though Jacob Morrison numbers-wise has been a lot better. He's kind of their number 2. But and then Riley Eichhoff is their number 3 starter. So, like, you have 3 legitimate starters. And then your top 2 bullpen arms, Dominic Carbone and Ryan Lynch, have each thrown under 30 pitches in the College World Series. Ryan Lynch has thrown 5, and he's your closer.
Wow.
Yeah, his ERA this year, 0.50. He's good. And then, like, your starters, 2 of them have over 100 strikeouts.
Let's be very clear. I want to give that the full credence it deserves. That 0.50 is over 27 appearances.
Yes,
it's not like he went out 3 times. It's over 27 appearances.
27 appearances. Strikeout numbers, I mean, he's got 35 to 10, which is a good strikeout to walk ratio. Not a ton of strikeouts, but a guy that just knows how to get outs. Like, he's a dangerous guy out of the pen. You got a lot of pitching. And then on the other side, you bat almost 300 as a team. It's been like 290, 291. They have 123 doubles this year. They can hit the ball. Only 66 home runs, only 2 guys in their lineup with double-digit home runs. So you're going to see a lot of the West Coast style, as they call it, singles, doubles, knocking guys over. That's what's worked for them. That's kind of what they did in 16 as far as strategy, and they were tough out then. They won the whole damn thing. So this team's going to be tough.
Now, nobody's talked about them since 2016, but they've been back in the tournament overall, and I believe they've made another trip or two to Omaha, but they've been a consistent winner since then.
Yeah, they have.
So, I mean, that's like I said, I'm not trying to downplay who they are or what they do, but they are formidable to be sure. I just, on a player-by-player breakdown, if you're looking at a breakdown of all 9, and I know this isn't how baseball works, but if you're looking at a breakdown of all 9, you said Fluke,
Cameron Fluke has been their game 1 starter. Jacob Morrison, who I think is the better of the two, has been their game 2 starter.
So if you look at a side-by-side, Cameron Fluke versus Cade Anderson, who are you taking?
I like Cade Anderson. I mean, a mock draft came out yesterday, the Major League draft. Cade Anderson, number 1.
Really?
So, I mean, there you go.
I love that. I love that so much. All the way up to number 1.
All the way up to number 1.
I'll be happy anywhere in the top 5.
For sure.
But, so if you look at Fluke versus Anderson, you're taking Anderson. And if you look at in game 2, Morrison versus
Anthony Hyanson, I don't see a huge advantage either way. But to your point, Anthony Hyanson went through the SEC gauntlet. It's hard to pick against that guy.
Right.
And what did we see from Hyanson? Like, even when he gets runners on base, there's traffic on the base pass, he's almost better than. A lot of guys, they kind of collapse when you get runners on base. He's almost better in the face of adversity. Like, it'd be hard to pick against him as well.
Well, what was it as you got to the end of the regular season, into the postseason? Actually, carried it through till today. Has anybody been hotter than Anthony?
Well, and that's the point, because everybody's like, oh, you have to throw Cade Anderson. He's your ace. You got 2 aces on the staff.
You do.
As far as I'm concerned, Anderson and Hyanson are 1A and 1B.
Yeah. Yeah, the difference in the Major League Baseball draft is the number of pitches they throw. That's it. Let's go back to talk about, and we got 2 minutes left, Coastal's pitching versus LSU's bats. What kind of stuff do these guys have? Yes, they have great numbers, but what kind of velocity are they throwing with? What kind of,
I mean, you'll
mix
see
of pitches?
You'll see low to mid-90s, Fluky and Jacob Morrison. Now, Riley Eichhoff, he's a good pitcher, but you go look at his numbers. He typically goes like 4 innings a game. Like that's kind of his role. Like, he's your day 3 starter. He didn't go quite as far as the other 2. Matter of fact, game 1 of the College World Series, Cameron Fluky got the start. Riley Eichhoff came out of the pen. They went 4 innings apiece and then just closed it out with their closer in the 9th inning. Morrison, Fluky again. So Fluky has started twice at this College World Series. Now, he's on like 4 days rest because they had the extra day off because of the rain delays and stuff. But they're all available, but they're good. I mean, I mentioned their strikeout numbers. Like, Fluky's at 102, and I believe Jacob Morrison's at 109. So, like, they can strike you out if you're not careful. This is a good lineup. As far as their batting lineup goes, like I mentioned, they get like
on base.
290 as a
team.
They
notoriously get on base.
The guy in their lineup with the worst batting average is 269. So, like, it's not like there's one guy batting 450 and everybody else is like 200. They're solid across the board.
First pitch, 6 p.m. tomorrow night. You'll find that on the sister station, Eagle 98.1. He's Taylor Sharp. You got to get back upstairs, man. Appreciate it.
Tigers in 2.
I'm with you. Quick break. Coming back with Lake Urgent Care next. I have not done it. I skipped all my live reads so far. I've been jammed up. So do I. I honestly, dude, if you're throwing low 90s and there's no movement,
I mean, they got some guys that can reach 90.
Okay, I don't want to be like, yeah, but they don't have like a Chase Shores.
No, they don't have a guy.
They've never seen a Chase Shores.
They don't have a guy throwing 1.
That's my point. Is like what they're throwing right now is unbelievable in the Sun Belt. It's unbelievable against
Old Dominion,
Oregon State, Louisville. Like, but okay, if they're so good, why aren't they in the SEC?
Yeah.
If they're so good, why haven't they been NIL'd up?
No, I get you.
Why haven't they been Zach Cowan?
It's like you got your 3 best arms. You got them. And I'd be hard pressed to believe that if you win game 1 and you got a lead going into the 8th inning. Jay's not just going to say, all right, Case and go. We don't need you game 3. Go win it now. Like, I agree. I just think it's gonna be hard for him to do it. All right, fellas.
Appreciate it. Good morning, Christy. Welcome in, sweetheart. I assume she's in. I haven't even opened up Facebook yet, y'all. My apologies. Do we not have? Can you go to your money now? They should be on the phone any second now. Any moment now. Come back with that bumper, by the way. Correct. Have her pronounce her last name, please. VAL. Elizabeth. She's a physician's assistant. Dude, I was worried when we started this that it was going to sound way too infomercially, but Lake Urgent Care has been sending me phenomenal guests. Never too much, never too much. That's a good summertime song. At the cookout. Yeah. You know I've said that before. That's on the cookout playlist. Boop, boop. 652 652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Well, I'm catching some for trivializing that Coastal Carolina win streak. I'll own it. That's fine. And I'm not trying to trivialize. I'm just saying in the Southeastern Conference, it just means more. All right, time to pivot over. It is the first day of summer, y'all. The first day of summer, longest day of the year. This weekend, going to have some heat advisories out there. Along with the summertime comes summer care. We've been fortunate enough to partner up with the folks over at Lake Urgent Care for a series of conversations, and those conversations continue right now, talking about summertime and everything that comes with being outside, being active. Elizabeth Velour is a physician's assistant with Lake Urgent Care, joining us to help figure out exactly where to go when the unexpected happens, breaking it down so that, an ounce of prevention can be worth a pound of cure here, or at this point, an ounce of prevention can help us know where to head should something go wrong. Elizabeth, good morning. Welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
No, glad to have you on here. Let's start with the most basic thing, okay? If something goes wrong over the summertime, what are some of the more common things that have people end up in your care?
Oh, okay, definitely. Summer keeps us pretty busy. So in the summer, we see lots of burns, grills, campfires, that sort of thing. We also see bug bites. I mean, these can certainly turn into infections. We see sprains and strains. We also see cuts, lacerations from yard work, boating trips, that sort of thing. One of the big things that we see this time of year is fish hook removals. I mean, this is South Louisiana. We have a lot of people out fishing during the summer. And so those are some of the things that we can handle in urgent care. We can do it quickly, we can do it efficiently and safely, and all without having to go to the ER and having a long wait or an extended cost. So basically, in a nutshell, if it's not life-threatening but still needs attention, that's what we're here for.
I'm sorry, you said fish hook removals in there. I was not expecting this to get that real that fast.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do is a fish hook removal. Love them. It's simple, easy.
Are they though?
Patient.
Okay, I was not expecting that. I thought that was going to be a little more difficult. We'll get to that in a little bit. I want to keep on task here, kind of keep the train on the rails. I would imagine burns are a big thing. You've got, like you said, people hitting campgrounds, so there's campfires. You have the lesser informed who might be trying to man the grill when they shouldn't. By the way, want more grilling tips? We got Foodie Friday coming up later on. So let's talk about putting their hands on the barbecue, hitting a little bit too much of the lighter fluid. When a burn comes your way, what does that look like?
So burn, or any wound really, but burns, really we want to be able to clean the wound. We can certainly treat any of those there. We also offer tetanus vaccines, so anytime you need a tetanus update, we can treat infection. Burns tend to get infected a lot of times. We also have other things. If you're out in the campground, you get hurt, want to check for a broken bone, we have x-rays on site. We can even do stitches or wound repairs if needed.
Mm-hmm.
We can usually get you in and out pretty fast as well. Plus, we're open every day, so we can help you out when this happens over the weekend or after hours.
We are talking with Elizabeth Velour. She's a physician's assistant over at Lake Urgent Care. You mentioned, getting out there doing the yard work and whatnot. How often is that with the rusty nail scenario?
Oh, definitely. If you step on a nail, especially if it goes through the sole of your foot, you need care. You want to make sure that your tetanus is up to date, something that we can check in the databases, or we can give you a tetanus vaccine if needed. But also usually standard medical care requires some prophylactic antibiotics, and we can certainly deliver those to you as well. And then you worry about infections or some type of foreign body, so we can always take an x-ray, check to make sure that there's no piece of the nail left within the foot or whatnot.
Gruesome to think about, but also very, very vital as well. Elizabeth, I want to ask you about, so I got you to run down a few of the items that would send someone your way, but let's talk about making that decision along the way. Let's talk about when people, what should they prioritize when deciding whether or not to visit the ER or visit their regular doctor or visit y'all?
That is such an important question, right? The easiest way to think about it is you have your primary care. They're your first stop for your wellness visits. They're going to treat your chronic medical conditions, your diabetes, your high blood pressure, really anything that can wait a few days. Your urgent care is great for same-day needs. Your stomach cold, the flu, you get an infection, an abscess of boil, minor injuries, any kind of scrape, burn, things like that. Now, if it's serious, like chest pain, you're having trouble breathing, you're getting a severe allergic reaction, do not wait. We want you to go straight to the ER or call 911.
Talk with Elizabeth Velour about when to head to urgent care, when to head to the ER. Let's follow up on that. One of the things that we kind of skip right past every time we have Lake Urgent Care on, and that's the word lake. Y'all are part of the Our Lady of the Lake system, right?
Yes, we certainly are, and we're very proud to be part of the lake system. It really benefits our patients, All of our facilities use the same MyChart system. It really makes it easy for access as far as with patients and stuff. So when you come see us and then follow up with your primary care or with a specialist, your records are already there. It makes things much easier.
Mhm.
It helps us deliver coordinated and consistent care no matter where you are within the system. One of the biggest ways that we can help make healthcare a little bit less stressful for the patient and help them feel more connected.
A little bit less than 2 minutes ago with Elizabeth Velour before we had to meet news at the top of the hour. I'll follow up on that MyChart. What is MyChart?
Oh, MyChart is a great question. MyChart's a game changer. It's a secure online portal. It's also on an app. You can use it on your smartphone. Gives you access to all of your healthcare information all in one place. So when you visit Lake Urgent Care or your primary care doctor or even a specialist within the lake, it's all connected through your MyChart. There are a couple of different things you can do within there. That includes looking at your test results as soon as they're available. You can send messages directly to your care team. You can schedule and manage your appointments. You know, to do prescription refills. You can even check in ahead of time, which saves you time when you arrive. And it really puts your whole medical history down to your fingertips, and it helps as far as not having to wait for records to transfer and whatnot.
Where can people find you if they need you?
We've got 14 locations throughout Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas. All of them are open 7 days a week, and we're there for patients 3 months and older. You can, all of them are walk-in clinics, or you can check in online at lakeurgentcare.com to save your spot.
She is Elizabeth Velour with Lake Urgent Care. And oh, by the way, if you didn't meet your weight loss goals heading into the summer, they can help with that too. They've got the semaglutide and the tirzepatide. Elizabeth, thank you so much for a couple minutes.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Hour 2 is coming up next on Talk 107.3. She was great. This is every friggin' week. I'm spoiled. It's 8 minutes of my show. A 3-hour-long show, 8 minutes covered.
It's good stuff. Always informative. Always informative. Hook removal, though. Wow.
We never got back around to that.
Whew.
I've seen it happen before.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen people with the, they get too much line in the cast and whipping it back and forth. And I'm like, dude, don't whip it around, man. It's all forward motion. You don't have to,
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I ran into Adeline's parents last night. Apparently, I didn't hammer home that it was Mondays, Thursdays. She didn't know she was supposed to come in yesterday.
Oh.
So she's gonna learn on Monday. It's like, if you have a question, ask.
Yeah.
Don't just assume and retreat. Ask.
Yeah.
Speak up. Speaking up is always more important. Hey, am I in today? Yes, you are.
Thank you.
She looks like her mom too.
Yeah.
Like her mom, but like younger and with glasses. Her mom doesn't have glasses.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, did you want the notes from that?
I'll take them. If not, I mean, I can.
Debbie says, hoping Coastal Carolina used up all their bats in the previous games. Well, Troy doesn't want me to downplay them, so I'm not going to respond to that. Sonny says, Fairfield is a tough neighborhood. I'm surprised Coastal took them out. I didn't think about the neighborhood. It's a Marriott property. Taylor's. I'll run that one up to him after the show. Kevin Ford just texted me.
Yeah.
He said, did I happen to leave my sunglasses in the studio? I said, yep, they're on Facebook Marketplace now if you want to buy them. I did not realize until last night, Sly Stone died last week.
That did happen.
I wish I would have known. I would have done a whole thing.
Yeah, that was what day last week? It was late last week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. That was Monday. Monday of last week.
Oh, I forgot to take pictures for next Where Are We Wednesday. Dang it. Did I already share today's post? I did. $7:05. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing. Starting off the second hour exactly where we start off the first hour, except with a little more sunlight. 73 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge on our way to a hot weekend. You heard that from Emma Kate Cowan. All right, a lot of ground to cover this hour. We are going to do our level best to speak with the speaker. Phillip Devillier slated to join us in our next segment. Now, fair warning, where Speaker Devillier is on the road, not the best cell service. So we shall do our level best. If we have to regroup, come back, talk to him next week, we will do that as well, or instead. But doing our level best to get you the recap from inside the session and talk a little bit about the safety of our elected officials as we saw what went down in Minnesota. So that will be a side topic of conversation within the conversation. Also this hour, Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company going to hop on board and talk a little bit about the travel numbers from 2024 down in New Orleans, where they've picked up in 2025. We're finding more and more that there is so much crossover here. There's crossover business, there's crossover revenue, there's that which feeds the state capitol, there's that which feeds us right here. And it just having ongoing conversations with the folks, not just from New Orleans and Company, but G&O Inc. as well, is an effort towards growing the overall major metro, both metros. You see what I'm saying? But I also want to ask Walt a little bit about the fairgrounds down in New Orleans and what's the deal with that? Right now, though, top stories and trending. Let's get it. Yeah.
Number 5.
Grabbing this one from the Daily Report. The first phase of dredging of City Park Lake and Lake Erie is now complete. And also, construction has begun on the long-awaited May Street Bridge, the 2-lane span with 14-foot protected pathways for pedestrians and cyclists. So That construction's underway. May Street actually closed down on June 4th. It's going to be closed until construction is completely complete in August of next year.
Number 4.
BRPD is investigating a shooting that left 53-year-old Huey Saunier dead. Police responded to the corner of Kanakakis or Kenosicus. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the name of that street. My apologies. Canocicus and Navajo. I know Navajo. They responded there Wednesday night around 9:04 p.m. to find Saunier suffering from a gunshot wound. He was brought to the hospital and later died from his injuries. After an initial investigation, police said that Saunier was shot a block down the road from where he was found over by Calumet Street.
Number 3.
EBR deputies arrested a suspected gang member Thursday who was still wanted after a series of arrests connected to the Vultures gang in early June. 47-year-old Rico Andrews was arrested, charged with conspiracy and drug dealing charges. He allegedly had escaped a raid leading to a huge influx of law enforcement, including a helicopter that circled the area near O'Neill Lane and Old Hammond Highway for part of the day back on June 2nd.
Number 2.
The family of Sergeant Caleb Eisworth, who was severely injured in a targeted attack on Jor Road, issued a statement thanking the community, law enforcement, and other officials yesterday. The statement from his family came after a blood drive and jambalaya fundraiser. They, of course, thanked everybody involved, thanked the entire community for the overwhelming amount of support. They did reiterate that Sergeant Eisworth is still in critical condition. And also, as a side note, that jambalaya fundraiser yesterday, they ran out of plates in the first hour.
Number 1.
I just sold out in under an hour. Go get them. Absolutely. Let's queue up the next one. Let's go. Number 1. Oh, today is the first official day of summer, the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. And, well, as you would expect, Louisiana's heat and humidity is about to take over. Our news partners over at WBRZ reporting, WBRZ meteorologist Emma Kate Cowan reporting, a heat advisory is in effect from 11 a.m. today until 7 p.m. tonight. We're going to see more continued heat throughout the weekend. We could have heat index, the quote-unquote feels like temps, up to about 112 today. What's trending, John?
Well, we got a little bit more time to get our dance videos in because President Donald Trump on Thursday signed an executive order to keep TikTok running in the U.S. for another 90 days.
Love it. Love it. Let's go. I'm here for it. I love me some TikTok. There's no better time waster on the planet. Now, meanwhile, I've got a stack of books I've got to read.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so far behind on the reading.
Don't we all, though?
Yes.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I've never been this far behind, though.
Yeah?
I'm like 9 deep right now. I'm way behind.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, yeah. Just, I feel bad.
I know.
But they're like, if you're in and out in under like 60 seconds, some of them 15 seconds, like, oh, one more video.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. You don't run out of TikTok.
You don't.
They
It's
just
not like
keep
you
coming.
can exhaust. Oh, okay, I've reached the end.
Yeah. There's no, you scroll one more time and it's like, this was the end of TikTok. Put your phone down, please.
Yeah.
I want that video.
Oh, man. I see it the most, not TikTok related, but YouTube related, where, the shorts. It actually keeps track of how many shorts, and you don't realize. You're just, you're going through them.
Yeah.
But TikTok, YouTube actually keeps track of all of that. So you see all the shorts you looked at, and it's like, there's no way. I looked at just 50 shorts in just that amount of time.
Hey, did we put Baby Brian AI on the YouTube Shorts?
Yes,
we did.
Actually,
okay.
Yes. We can check out the stats on that to see how that's doing.
I do want to see that.
But yes, it is there. It is there.
Hey, by the way, just a little precursor, a little teaser here. The Baby Brian AI, not the only AI baby coming out.
No.
Be on the lookout next Tuesday. We might have to revisit the poop committee.
Oh, man. In other news, the world's largest 14-foot great white shark, Contender, which has swam 1,870 miles over the course of 142 days, can now be tracked by users worldwide thanks to the folks at OSearch.
Yeah, and you know who needs to track them? Everyone up and down the East Coast.
Yes.
I tell you what, the Chanticleers of coastal Carolina better be thankful they're in Omaha, Nebraska right now because Contender is lurking. Contender's out there, y'all.
He's there.
14 foot seems like it's not the greatest, like the biggest great white ever.
Right.
Is it the biggest one they've ever tracked?
I think so. I think that's what it is
Okay.
as far as tracking goes, because they go from 13 to 16 feet.
Yeah.
So Yeah. But I
Also,
think
is there like an Atlantic versus Pacific sort of thing?
Oh, it may be.
Because
That may
there's also,
factor in.
the Pacific is bigger. So you'd have if I'm a 17, 18 foot great white, I'm going to go to the biggest swimming pool there is.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But yeah, Contender. And by the way, shark alligator rule, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So Contender has been pinging in Florida, Georgia, and both the Carolinas over the last like 3 days. Or no, I'm sorry, more than that. Today's the 20th. Over the last 2 weeks. We're talking about, over the span of time, a journey of 1,870 miles. Nope, sorry. That's over 142 days. Yeah, that math didn't sound like it was mathing at first. Anyway, Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas, contenders out there.
Hey, speaking of, well, not contenders, but tenders nonetheless, the first Baton Rouge location of Dave's Hot Chicken officially opens today in the shopping center of Rouse's on Burbank and Lee.
So, soft opening for Dave's the last 2 days. I went by on Wednesday for lunch. Had a little media thing going on over there. I went by Wednesday for lunch. I got a chicken tender and a slider. Okay.
Just kind of testing the waters there.
Testing the waters. The slider, I got it at a medium level of heat. Perfect. Couldn't be better. Loved it. It's got the coleslaw on it, the pickle, and then this added little sauce in the bun. Could not have asked for more. Okay. The hot chicken tender, melting my face.
Oof.
Like I looked at the Ark of the Covenant, it just melted the face right off. It was so like, and they hit 2 more levels of hot above that.
I was gonna say that's.
I don't know if I'm a giant wuss or if they're like bringing the heat, but like a hot chicken, and it's Nashville hot, but man,
and the hottest is the Reaper. So
yeah, okay. Why do people do that?
I don't know. Some people just like to torture themselves. Some people are just,
I guess,
masochists.
We're at 714 to talk 107.3 FM WBRP. I tell you what, let's keep us on time. Quick break. We've got Phillip Devillier next. You have the speaker's number?
Let me double check before I say no, because I think you've given it to me. I don't. Hello, good morning, sir. This is John with Brian Haldane. Yes, sir. Looking to have you on here in about another minute or so. All right, thank you.
Seven Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Well, what was it? Last Thursday, the session came to a close. 5:55 p.m. The session was gavelled to a close. So for 2025, our regular/fiscal session is now over with. Joining us now to kind of recap a little bit of that is our speaker, Phillip Devillier. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Brian. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well as well. Now, I gave the warning there, and I appreciate your accommodation here in trying to get on the air. You're in a spot where we might lose cell service along the way, so let me just say thank you up front for the added effort as you're making your way back into Baton Rouge.
Absolutely, bud.
Okay, we've got a lot of ground to cover, but before we get into the legislative session, I want to start with something that has been grabbing some headlines nationwide. If you don't mind us kind of walking down a different path to begin with, I want to talk about that fatal shooting in Minnesota last week, and what, if anything, is that resonating with here in Louisiana?
Yeah, look, that's just such a tragedy, and I mean, I've heard from a lot of members with deep concerns over what took place there, and I mean, look, I think we all need to be aware of what we say out in public, what you say on the radio, what you say on social media, because sometimes some of the things that that we say, I guess it stirs up certain people, certain things in people's minds, and it creates maybe some anxieties and some tension that is unnecessary. And I just really, I have the members of Minnesota in our prayers and our thoughts, and we just want to be aware of what we say and what our actions, and how it can create other things in people, some anger maybe that we really and truthfully don't have there. I mean, look, I know every member in the House and the Senate, I would say personally, and no matter what side of the aisle they're on, I mean, I love each one of them dearly, and I respect their views. They were elected just like I was elected, and they're the voice of their constituents. So even though we may not always agree, we just have to be aware that they're there just like we're there to represent our constituents.
But just to be clear, there's been no, because I mean this comes at the end of the session, so everyone goes back home to their districts. There's no way to add any kind of beefed up security, or there's been no kind of chatter going on that would cause you to push towards that.
No, I mean, I think more of the chatter has been, look, just be aware of your surroundings, be aware of what's going on in other areas, and just it's pretty much what the chatter has been.
Yeah.
We've certainly done. We've increased security at the Capitol over the last year. We've went through a Capitol security, I guess, setting up the Capitol security now, and feel like we've really changed security on that end, not only for the members but for the general public that comes to the Capitol to either visit or come and participate in the process. That's the first step that we really felt like we needed to do to try to increase security and safety in Baton Rouge.
I took note of that this year, actually, and in fact, the increased security made it even more convenient. Somehow made it more convenient getting in. It actually it was a higher level of security, and somehow sped up the process at the same time. We're talking with Speaker Phillip Devillier. All right, let's move on to a recap of the session. Let's get your 10,000-foot view to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I really think for people to understand this 60-day session, you'd have to go back to the end of last year's session, really in June. And, I called in our chairman of insurance, Gabe Furman, and a civil law, Nikki Muscarello, along with Speaker Pro Tem Mike Johnson. We met with the Senate president, we met with the governor, and we said, listen, we fully understand the problems that we have when it comes to insurance across the state of Louisiana. We did, a tremendous amount of bills last year when it came to property insurance, and the majority of those bills didn't go into effect until January. So it does take time for these types of bills to come to go into effect and see the fruits of the labor. But we went straight back in June and started having meetings and then having public hearings in July dealing with insurance. So, from last year's regular session all the way until this year's regular session, our committees were meeting and discussing policies in other states and what we could do differently in Louisiana to come up with bills for the regular session. And I mean, you saw that day one when we went in. We hit the ground running. We filed and moved probably 30 insurance reform bills rather quickly.
Yeah.
And then, when it comes to, I would say, Ways and Means, Chairwoman Emerson started meeting right away. We went in the session in November to deal with our tax reform policies, which she did a phenomenal job. spearheading that and really lowering the rates and cutting taxes across the state of Louisiana in a special session in November. And we tried to go a little bit further with that in this regular session. Just the notes that were created in November, and then we had a change in our legislative fiscal office, in our staff between November and the regular session. Had an REC meeting. The notes didn't come out exactly like we anticipated, so we kind of had to put a pause on doing more tax reform. So, I mean, that was something that I would just say is a huge movement moving forward in Louisiana when it comes to our tax policy and our business climate. When you look at DOTD, Chairman Boreak started meeting right away, and every month bringing in the agency, going over the dollars that we had appropriated last year, and every month moving into this regular session, seeing how those dollars were being appropriated, how they were being spent, where the projects were having difficulties we could address in the interim, where the bids were coming out higher or lower. I mean, just through the whole thing to where we got into this year's regular session, we had a good package of bills to reform DOTD, which you're not hearing a lot of conversations about either. And that's huge. I mean, we all know the problems we have with infrastructure with a $19 billion backlog. So, I mean, we had those interim meetings going on throughout the whole time we weren't in session, to where when we got into session, we had a really good package of bills moving forward. And I mean, our chair of appropriations, Jack McFarland, he was working day in and day out to try to come up with a really good budget that didn't have any growth in it. And I mean, that was, incredible when you look at the minimal amount of growth, which was below inflation. I mean, it's something to really be proud of. And I mean, the additional dollars that we did put on infrastructure, the additional dollars we put on higher ed deferred maintenance, water and sewer needs across the state, and not to mention the debt payment for our retirement systems that turn around and save the state general fund a tremendous amount of money. So, that's a 30,000-foot view leading up to the session, I'd say.
Yeah. We're talking with Speaker Phillip Devillier about the recently completed legislative session. I do want to dig in a little bit more on the tax reform and what y'all had to start with and how you got from point A to point B when it comes to, you talked about the work that was done last year leading up to this year, but when Constitutional Amendment number 2 failed at the polls, that put y'all in a completely different position to begin this session. Did that leave y'all hamstrung with what you were able to do to create further tax cuts?
Well, I would say it certainly forced us to go back to the drawing board and figure out what we could do in the regular session and to come up with putting something in front of the people again for another constitutional amendment. I mean, look, our Constitution is bloated, and we were trying to really reduce the size of it to try to help reduce, I would say, our tax rates and create a better business climate in Louisiana. And I mean, look, since the governor was elected, I would say in the last 18 months, Louisiana has gone from the lower 40s in the business climate now to maybe the mid to upper teens. So, I mean, we've done some just huge strides when it comes to the business climate across the state of Louisiana and throughout the nation. I mean, people are paying attention now. We have over $60 billion of new investments coming in, and those things as well take time. And when we start seeing all of these things, I mean, people should be extremely proud and excited for what Louisiana has in store for us moving forward. But yeah, I mean, it was a blow when the Constitution Amendment number 2 failed. I mean, there was a lot of work that was put into that. I mean, people don't realize we cut personal income tax rates, corporate income tax rates. We got rid of the franchise tax. I mean, all of those things are huge movements in the right direction and something that we should all be proud of. And I just don't know if people are aware of that yet. I mean, we went from 3 different rates on personal income tax with the highest rate of 4.25. Now we have a flat rate of 3%. I mean, that alone is huge. So when it comes to the states that do have an income tax, we have one of the lowest income taxes across the nation. And then on the corporate side, we had 3 different rates as well. We went from the highest rate of 7.5 down to a flat rate of 5.5%. So, I mean, that's another huge movement in the direction of lowering and getting rid of the income taxes. And then getting rid of the franchise tax, I mean, to me, that was a no-brainer, but, I mean, that does have a cost to the fisc of around $500 million.
We're talking with Speaker Phillip Devillier. How do we pick that up and continue with it to maybe get a few more of these items across the finish line to help our wallets?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think what we're talking about now is just looking and seeing how all the tax policies that we changed, obviously in November, and didn't really start taking place until January. Here we are in June. Let's see how they kind of materialize over the next 6 months and have a full year of those tax policy changes. And then as we go back into the next session, I think we'll be prepared to continue to work to try to lower rates and move forward and try to take care of the infrastructure needs we have across the state of Louisiana. So we're going to continue to work. We have some just great members in Louisiana. We have a great governor. We have a great leader. And, I mean, I just think that we're working well together to try to address the problems that we have in the state of Louisiana.
Okay, so I'm glad you wrapped that answer up there because it leads me to my next question, and that's a big question of what's next. There's been, the governor has mentioned the possibility of another special session to address a few things that were left on the table before at the end of the session. How much desire is there for another special session? Because, man, over the last 2 years, y'all have been together a lot.
Yeah, and look, that's a fair question. I would say that members really and truthfully appreciate being home, being with their families, being back at work, trying to make a living, trying to be back in their districts and hearing from their constituents. I would say with all that, there's not a whole lot of desire to go back to Baton Rouge and into another session right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's understandable. I haven't sat down with the governor yet, nor the president. I would expect that I would have that conversation with President Henry today. We're going to be discussing some of the policy changes that we just recently did in Baton Rouge today and moving forward. And then I would expect to visit with the governor very soon, either today or tomorrow as well, and just kind of have a better understanding of what his thoughts are to actually go into a special session, what it is that he would like to accomplish, and when he would like to see that taking place. But as for now, I think it's best that the members can spend a little bit of time back home, back in their districts with their families and in their business.
He is Speaker Phillip Devillier. I appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and God bless.
Likewise, sir. All right. I love the accessibility that he offers up. Never shuts. The last speaker was like that as well. Speaker Scheck-Snyder was like that as well. But it just, and by the way, I didn't ask him about any of his bills because he didn't have any bills. And this is one of those things that I know he, I don't want to say takes pride in, but makes a priority of. If you pull up the list of bills from the last session, Speaker Devillier had 6 resolutions. Basically like commending the LSU Eunice baseball coach. Like that. And the reason for that is he doesn't want to play favorites. He doesn't want to treat his bills any better or any worse than anybody else's. So, you know what? No bills. I'm the speaker. I'll let everybody else do their thing. So I appreciate his time and his candor. We got news, traffic, weather coming your way. What did Condon want? Oh, a charger. That's what this meant. Okay, I didn't know what that meant. Oh.
I didn't either. That's why I looked at him like that. He was like, charger. I'm like, oh.
I'm terrible at charades.
It's hot.
My wife has a day off work today.
Sweet.
So I don't want to text her because I don't want to, I'm hoping she's still asleep.
Yes.
I don't know what this is.
What's the weather like out there? Hot. It's damn hot. Do some crotch pot cooking.
There's Walt. Okay. Kelly was on last time. She's good. I've got to eat one of their minutes though. I'm so far behind on live reads. You know who Jonathan Bartha is? Yeah. Sorry, Justin Bartha. Justin Bartha. Remember the Hangovers? The Hangover series? He was the guy who was getting married in the first one, the one who was stuck on the roof. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. What
Was
about
it? Doug.
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 Dave.
There's also Riley Poole in National Treasure. Yeah, he's coming on in a couple weeks.
Oh, sweet.
He's got a new movie coming out called Nuked, which they sent me the screener for. It's actually pretty funny.
Oh, okay.
It's
okay.
like this group of people right around 40 years old.
Yeah.
They're get together for a birthday party at like some remote house, and I'm only halfway through it. I was watching it at the gym, and I only did 45 minutes on the exercise bike, on the spin bike. So I had to stop it. But it's like, you get these couples and whatnot. You can tell it's setting the scene for like, the people that don't want to let go of who they are to grow into somebody new.
Okay,
And meanwhile, the dinner party. So the husband and wife, they have the same birthday.
Okay.
So they're celebrating their 40th birthdays. And I don't know where it goes from here. It's called Nuked. I don't know why.
Right.
But one of the surprises along the way was he selected a cannabis-infused dinner.
Ooh.
And the chef is comedian Natasha Leggero, and oh my God, she is hilarious in that, like, so dry, so upfront.
Yeah. Love it.
She's just.
You want me to just...
The entree is from a sativa strand called Thug Pussy. You put me back on. Oh man, I can't wait. I don't know when it comes out. I think. I guess no, it came out last year. Okay.
Oh, it
So
did.
it's out.
It is
Yeah.
out. Okay.
But it's him and what's the chick from Pitch Perfect and True Blood, and Anna Camp.
Okay.
Anna Camp is the wife. And then there's a whole bunch of people I hadn't heard of. But they're all awesome.
That's cool stuff.
But yeah, Natasha Leggero's character is just, she's the cannabis chef. And
Yeah.
737 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're going to get to Kelly Schultz from New Orleans and Company in just a quick second. I do need to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. You know where to check them out. They're downtown on 3rd Street. They're in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. Or their OG location. They're back in their original Baton Rouge location, Highland Road, just west of Kenilworth. And you already know, I tell you every day about the rewards. Mathern's Rewards. Download the Mathern's app today. Scan it every time you're in there. Earn cash towards more groceries. Take advantage of all the deals they've got every single week. You get the deals, you get the coupons, and you get the rewards cash every time you shop at Mathern's. In fact, this week, if I'm not mistaken, USDA prime beef filet mignon, $15.99 a pound. Beef tenderloin, $13.99 a pound. So as summer is officially here and you're looking to fire up the grill, it's important to have that Mathern's app to know what kind of good old U.S. beef you can throw on that grill, and they've got you covered at all 3 locations of Matherns. Right now, time to visit with Kelly Schultz from New Orleans & Company. Kelly, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Do we not have Kelly?
Hello?
There she is. How are you?
Hey, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to have you back on this morning. We've got a lot to cover when it comes to tourism right down the road, but I want to start with a bigger picture for our audience here in Baton Rouge, and that is why New Orleans tourism matters statewide. Can you just, a very open-ended question, just pick it up and run with it.
Sure, yeah. New Orleans tourism really fuels the entire state. So we know that many visitors, particularly international visitors, when they come to New Orleans, international visitors typically stay longer, they have more vacation time, and they spend more money. And so in many cases, they may start their trip in New Orleans, but then come to other parts of the state, whether that's Baton Rouge or Shreveport. And we know that when New Orleans tourism industry does well, so does the rest of the state. So just one example, for every dollar that is spent on tourism in New Orleans, it saves every family in Louisiana thousands of dollars in annual taxes because that money is being generated by the visitors to our state. So we're working hard to drive New Orleans tourism, which also benefits everyone in Louisiana.
Talk with Kelly Schultz from New Orleans & Company about some recent tourism numbers. Okay, so let's put the bow on 2024. What were a few of the highlights?
Well, we just got in some new numbers, and it's really exciting that we can finally say that in 2024, we reached pre-COVID levels of visitation. So we reached 19 million visitors in 2024. That's the first time since prior to COVID in 2019 that we saw those numbers. And it's only the second time ever that we've seen that high of visitor numbers for New Orleans. So over the past 5 years, everyone's been saying, when are you going to get to that pre-COVID visitation level again? And we can finally say that we've done that. 19 million in 2024. Those visitors spent about $10 billion, which is also, actually they spent a little bit more than they did previously. So we're really excited about those numbers and what it means for the future.
Talk with Kelly Schultz from New Orleans & Company about let's talk a little bit about the future. What's on tap here?
Well, one thing that's immediately coming up is Essence Fest, right? So July 4th is synonymous with Essence Festival in New Orleans. So Essence Festival of Culture is coming back for its 31st year. It happens July 3rd through 6th. And it's hundreds of thousands of attendees will come into the city. Most people know Essence Festival for its daily events at the Montreal Convention Center and then evening concerts at the Caesars Superdome with some pretty amazing talent. But it's really so much more than that. Essence has about 20 unique curated experiences. So as part of this festival, you're going to hear amazing music. You're going to get incredible empowering seminars and content at the convention center, but they also have a beauty con. They have a film festival. They have an author's event. They have all of these Black business showcases. So it's really a festival that has grown. This year, some of the big names, Patti LaBelle, Jasmine Sullivan, Master P, who's from New Orleans, is going to do a show at Essence Fest. So we're really looking forward to it. And the cool thing is that if you're a Louisiana resident, you can get a 20% discount on a single-day ticket if you get those tickets in person at the Superdome.
Very cool stuff. Kelly, I got to ask you a question that's completely off the beaten path here, okay?
Okay.
All right. Every time when New Orleans hosts a Super Bowl, it's difficult to quantify how many individual travelers book their vacations based off of, oh, look, New Orleans, beautiful city. I see it right in front of my face. I'm going to follow up on that. All right. That's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking about the Super Bowl. Is there any way to quantify how many people come to Essence Fest based off the 2017 movie Girls Trip?
Oh, my gosh. Yes, we know. That movie was such a hit, and it did make a difference. We do have numbers that can show
You're
that
kidding.
Attendance actually went up after that movie because it was so beautiful. I've seen it many times. It was so beautifully done. And it was pretty accurate about what that experience is like for people coming to New Orleans. So yes, that kind of stuff does matter. Whether it is a film that is set in New Orleans or a television show or if it's something like a Super Bowl where, we had 6,000 journalists here who were, of course, reporting on the football, but also reporting on the city and our culture and the experience. Whether we have influencers come here and tell the stories of what it's like to be in New Orleans for an Essence Fest or some other event, that kind of stuff really does matter. It's very competitive out there in terms of where people can go. And a lot of cities would love to be able to host the Essence Festival over July 4th. Mm-hmm. And we work hard to keep that in New Orleans. So those types of positive publicity opportunities really do matter.
We're talking with Kelly Schultz from New Orleans and Company. Essence Fest is the one that's right around the corner, just a couple weeks from now. Can we fast forward to 2027? Seeing New Orleans to host IPW in 2027?
Yeah, this is a big deal. The reason my voice is a little scratchy today is because I just returned from IPW, which is a conference of the U.S. Travel Association. And this is an event that brings in thousands of international travel buyers and journalists to the United States. So this conference happens every year. It was just held earlier this week in Chicago. So I was there with Walt Leger, our CEO, and a group of us who were there promoting New Orleans and trying to convey why international visitors should come to New Orleans and the state of Louisiana for their international travels. And the exciting thing is that we are going to have the opportunity to host this event in 2027. So we work closely with the U.S. Travel Association. They're based in Washington, D.C. You can imagine what an undertaking it is to open up your city for thousands of international travel journalists and travel agents and travel buyers. It is a wonderful opportunity to showcase New Orleans and the state of Louisiana. So we will be doing pre-conference tours all over the state of Louisiana, all over the region. When we were there this past week in Chicago did a great job. It's a wonderful showcase of their city and their culture. But I've got to tell you, there was so much interest in New Orleans and in Louisiana. We had a line of journalists that wanted to come talk to us. We had so many customers. There are thousands of exhibitors there, every city, every travel brand you can imagine, all from the United States. And every year we see so much interest in New Orleans, and we feel good about it. We think we're going to get lots of business and lots of positive travel stories around the world. And then certainly when they're all here in 2027, what an opportunity. I mean, we are trying to figure out how we can just make this the biggest and best one ever.
Of course, IPW standing for International, if I'm not mistaken, International Powwow?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, great name, great, and even better acronym with the IPW coming to New Orleans in just a couple years. I believe they got stopped off in Fort Lauderdale next year before we get our teeth into it.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, the last time, we've done this before, but we've done it, so this will be our fifth time hosting it. But the last time we did it was in 2016. And people still talk about, those who were there still talk about the IPW in New Orleans in 2016. Some people say it was one of the best ones ever. For some people, that was their first introduction to New Orleans. For some, it was their first introduction to the United States, right? So imagine coming to the U.S. for the first time, and the experience you get is a really exciting, customized conference in New Orleans with Mardi Gras floats and everything else. So, they still talk about that show and how awesome it was. And our team is working hard to make sure that we top that experience in 2027.
When it comes to the big name events, how hard is it to replicate that? How hard is it to get them back? Like, for example, in 2024, y'all brought a couple of events into the city that I hadn't even heard of, but I didn't even know there was a Pastry World Cup. Like, how hard is it to get them back again? Because I'm sure they want to see everybody everywhere, but like to get in a rotation.
Yeah, well, this is what we do at New Orleans and Company. We're constantly looking for opportunities, uncovering leads, forming relationships, out there pounding the pavement every day. And in 2024, the competition you're referring to, I had also never heard of a Pastry World Cup, and it is incredible. It was described to me as the Culinary Olympics. And so the Pastry World Cup, and then it's its sister competition, which is called Bocuse d'Or. In 2024, New Orleans was the first North American city to ever host this event. And so chefs from around the world compete in this, essentially a cooking competition. They came to New Orleans, they did this. The winners of that competition go on to compete in the finals of Bocuse d'Or and Pastry World Cup in Lyon, France. So we were able to host chefs from North and South America in New Orleans for this competition, and they paired with a lot of famous Louisiana chefs, and part of the ingredients that they prepared as part of the competition were things like alligator and Louisiana crab meat. And it was really cool to see these internationally renowned chefs paired with Louisiana chefs, and the pastries that were created. I mean, they were like works of art. You can't even imagine the beauty and the enormity of these creations. It is really an unbelievable honor to have this event in the city. And they had such a good time in 2024 that they want to come back for 2026.
Let's go.
And so, exactly. So we're going to have some, again, the North America's selection of Bocuse d'Or and Pastry World Cup. It'll be here next summer. Those winners will go on to compete in the finals in Lyon, France. But, everyone knows that New Orleans is a great food city. Louisiana is a great food state. But this just takes that culinary excellence to a completely new level.
She is Kelly Schultz with New Orleans & Company. We got less than a minute. Well, we got 30 seconds to go here. I wanted to ask one more highlight of the summer, aside from Essence Fest. What else is there to look out for?
Well, July 19th, we're hosting the UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship. So that's coming up. You can get your tickets. It's the first time we're doing this championship ever.
Yep.
And Dustin Poirier is going to be competing. He's a Louisiana native from Lafayette. So come on down for UFC Fighting Championship on July 19th.
She is Kelly Schultz. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's 7:50. Here's your money now. I knew Kelly didn't know about the racetrack. That's why I avoided it. My watch says it's time to stand up, so I'm going to stand up. Find a clean version of LMFAO's shots. hold it here now. Ugh. Ugh. 25,818 shots, Jello shots, that is, for your LSU Fighting Tigers in the Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge. That is the count as of 10 p.m. last night. They posted up at 10 p.m. every night. LSU with 25,818. This is something that has kind of grown into something completely different from what it was originally intended. 2 years ago, absolutely ran away with the Jello Shot Challenge out at Rocco's. You heard the story from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network, talking about how we have was it like a 3-1 lead, 3 times the next team. LSU has sold more than 3 times the number of LSU Jello shots than the second place team. Louisiana Radio Network, Jeff and them talk with manager Pat McAvoy, saying LSU has been bolstered by a few heavy hitters. Raising Cane CEO Todd Graves, he's in that number.
Todd was here with Paul Skeen and Livy Dunn, and they bought a couple trays, but nothing too crazy. And Paul actually bought a couple hundred and said just pass them out to Tiger fans throughout the bar, and so we did that.
So there's a couple folks looking to maybe take Graves off his title here. Gordon McKernan's one of them, buying 888 Jello shots every day that LSU remains in the tournament. 888-8888. That's the phone number, as it were, for Gordon. McAvoy says the friendly rivalry is quickly escalating LSU's and, for that matter, Rocco's numbers.
Sales-wise, the biggest days were the days that Todd did 6,000 and Gordon did the 8,888. Shane Morrison, who's a big LSU guy, too, he bought 6,001 just because he didn't want Todd to have the record like 2 days after Todd did it.
Now, this is not all about getting schnockered on Jello shots, right? There is, well, there's that. But $1 of every shot goes to a local food bank in each school's local area. 50 cents of each Jello shot sold goes to the food bank of Omaha, Nebraska. So you got a $5 Jello shot, and of that $1.50 either goes back $1 back to Baton Rouge, 50 cents to the food bank in Omaha. So they're doing a little bit of good with it. And for that reason, McAvoy says Graves, McKernan, Morrison, they're all happy to part ways with their money, even if the Jello shots they buy end up unconsumed.
We're like, hey, it's unlikely that you're going to get all 6,000 or 6,001, 8,888 of your Jello shots passed out today, and we can't carry them over to the next day because everything bought that day has to be consumed that day. And they're like, we don't care. The fact that it's a charitable aspect is what they cared about.
So McAvoy says since they started the Jello Shot Challenge, they have raised more than $350,000 for food banks across the country, and that is amazing. That is nothing short of amazing. I absolutely love that. I know we all, we joke about it because it's Jello shots. We joke about, make fun of, Louisiana, we're just built different. Yeah, and we are. Make no bones about that. But at the same time, though, we're built different when it comes to having that giving heart and making sure that folks are taken care of. So when $1.50 makes it back to different food banks along the way, that's a good thing. Like I said, as of right now, LSU's got 25,818. The next closest contender, Arkansas at 8,759. One would have to assume that that's probably where their number is going to end. Because, once you're no longer there, once you go home, your count stops. All right. After Arkansas, Murray State, 8,137 is where they capped off. And then coming in fourth right now is Coastal Carolina at 7,032. So if I'm the Chanticleers, if I'm Coastal Carolina, I'm looking to post up a good 2,000 more over the weekend to catapult into that second place spot. If you finish second on the field, you should finish second in the Jello Shot Challenge as well, right? That math does its mathing. Because you're there the longest. You have the opportunity to pass people up. The other ones, Arkansas, Murray State, they're in the clubhouse. By the way, you've also got in the mix here, Louisville had 2,027, Arizona 1,769, Oregon State was at 1,981, UCLA at 1,516. They've all long since gone home. So they're not adding to their numbers anymore. But if you're Coastal, man, go ahead, finish second there too. Hour 3 is next. Oh. 806 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing, starting off your third hour at 77 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Busy hour this hour. We'll talk with Johnny Dunham and Ned Fasullo in our next segment. Crime Stoppers is an event that you are going to want to be a part of. And then later on in the hour, Foodie Friday coming your way, presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. This week on Foodie Friday, the folks from Chris's Specialty Foods going to be in the house. But before we get to any of that, we're going to get you to This Day in History. But before we get to This Day in History, got to remind you about the folks over at, P.F. Chang's. If you don't have your lunch plans yet today, maybe think about visiting P.F. Chang's. Do you know where to find them? Yes, you do. They're in Town Center off Corporate Boulevard. You know how to find them when you get to Town Center? You look for the giant golden horse. You know what you're getting when you get there? Doesn't matter, because everything on the menu is fantastic. I have yet to have the meal at P.F. Chang's that I've walked away from saying I wouldn't get that again. Everything I've gotten over there, I've said I will get that again. Now, I have my favorites. I'm a sesame beef guy. You give me all that flavor, all those different flavors combined on top of that crispy beef. That's phenomenal. Throw in the veggies, add a little rice to the mix as well. You've got yourself a fantastic meal. And here's the thing with P.F. Chang's is you're getting a better quality ingredient, so you're getting lighter, healthier fare. You are getting lighter, healthier fare, so where if you go to P.F. Chang's for lunch, you're not weighted down and unproductive for the rest of the day. And oh, by the way, $13.99 is where you're going to find your lunch special starting, $16.99 dinner specials. Get it at P.F. Chang's. All right, every day at this time, the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Signs bring you This Day in History.
All right.
All right.
Taking it back to 1840.
1840.
American inventor Samuel Morse patents his telegraph.
Tap, tap, tappy, tap.
That's it, giving us Morse code, of course. Fast forwarding all the way to 1967, Cassius Clay, also known as Muhammad Ali, sentenced to 5 years by jury after 21 minutes of deliberation for refusing to be inducted into the armed forces during the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Man.
Did not realize that was today.
Yeah. You know what else is today? Jaws was released in 1975, this day.
What we're dealing with here is a perfect engine, an eating machine. And all this machine does is swim and eat and make little sharks, and that's all.
Like that. Might be time to watch Jaws this weekend.
You got City Hands, Hooper. Been counting money your whole life. Jaws is one every time it's on. I'm watching from start to finish. It does not matter.
Sure.
Every time it's on, I'm watching from start to finish.
Yes, indeed.
Love to prove that, wouldn't you? Get your name in the National Geographic. It's one of those movies where my favorite Jaws thing. Go back and watch it. The mayor.
Okay, yeah.
He smokes in the hospital. Like
Different
that tells you this movie's 50 years old.
Yeah.
Amity means friendship, you know.
I broke that to my kids not long ago. Like, yeah, there was smoking in hospitals, restaurants. There was just, it's a different time.
That's what was the mayor's name? It was Larry?
Oh man, to get that right now on the spot.
Oh man, what was it? It was Larry Vaughn.
Okay.
Mayor Larry Vaughn. Oh man.
Good stuff. Good stuff. 1979. U.S. President Jimmy Carter unveils 32 solar panels installed on the roof of the White House.
Really?
But his immediate successor had them removed.
No kidding.
Not only did Ronald Reagan help tear down the Berlin Wall, but also removed Jimmy's solar panels.
Oh, darn shame.
Dang it. 1980, musical comedy film The Blues Brothers is opens in 594 theaters. So I guess it's technically released, but I guess to a limited audience.
Okay,
limited
so
theaters.
Blues Brothers, there's a thing coming out soon that we are going to talk with Stella Aykroyd and Luke Pisano. He's the son of Judy Belushi Pisano. There's a new book coming. Oh, shoot. It's a book, but it's also like there's going to be film elements to it, a TV element to it, and I believe some live concert elements to it. It's called Blues Brothers Escape of Joliet Jake. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
When am I having this conversation? On the it'll be recorded on the 26th. So end of this month, be on the lookout for that. Blues Brothers, The Escape of Joliet Jake
Something to
is
look
on the way.
forward to. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yep.
This day, 1994, O.J. Simpson arraigned on murder of Nicole Simpson and Ronald Goldman. So brought before the court, I guess, on this day.
Yep.
Man. 2015, 1,000 humanoid robots named Pepper sell out in under a minute at $1,600 a piece in Japan.
Okay.
I know. Just stay. I'm here
Japan doing Japan things.
I know, right? Under a minute. Wow.
Yeah, but it's the humanoid robot part that
Yeah.
makes it very Japan.
Exactly. 2018, U.S. President Donald Trump signs executive order ending family separation at the border for illegal immigrants today.
Yep.
2023, the site of Julius Caesar's assassination in Rome, dating back to the 3rd century BC, opens to the public for the first time.
Okay.
This day in 23. Anything else on this day?
Nope.
All right, moving on to birthdays. Fortunately, he actually just passed the other day. Brian Wilson, founder of the Beach Boys today.
So, okay, yeah, Brian Wilson passed last week, and then Sly Stone passed 2 weeks ago.
He did.
I didn't even know that.
It kind of went under the radar.
Yeah, they have two of them, two legends like that, back to back. I mean, they say these things happen in threes, but I don't think you're gonna get bigger back to backs than Sly and the Family Stone, Beach Boys. I mean, talk about between defining two ends of an era, right, or two ends of the spectrum within an era.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Who else was born on this day?
Errol Flynn as well. John Goodman, speaking of
Louisiana's adopted son, John Goodman, born on this day in 1952.
Lionel Richie and Nicole Kidman as well.
Okay. All right. Got a couple more for you. Audie Murphy, born on this day in 1925. Cyndi Lauper, born on this day in 1953. You had, in the world of sports, got a couple more for you here. Let me scroll on over to my sports page, where we're going to find former Saints running backs, Fred McAfee and Darren Sproles. Fred McAfee, 1968, Darren Sproles, 1983. And right upstairs, we got to pop upstairs and wish our own Matt Flynn a happy birthday.
Okay.
Yep.
Happy birthday. Moving on to deaths.
Yes.
Jack Kirby, who brought Kilby. He actually brought us the calculator.
Okay.
One of the pioneers for the first calculator.
Did not know that.
And then Donald Sutherland are my two today.
Saw Donald Sutherland was on that list. The only other one we had was American gangster Bugsy Siegel.
Okay.
Down in the state in 1947. National days?
Let's see. I got American Eagle Day.
We'll go with that. That'll work.
Yeah.
814 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Of course, this day in history brought to you by the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Signs every day. Call my guy Danny, 271-4096. 271-4096. I tell you all the time about the printed things you can get from 5 Star. And I've actually been a customer of 5 Star. Swear by their work. They do fantastic work. It's so thorough, so user-friendly at the same time. 271-4096. But I want to tell you for just a quick second about the branding. Your business's branding. It's so important right now because your message has to be in as many places as possible. As many top-of-mind reminders along the way. For example, put your logo on the side of a Yeti. Well, I don't know if it's a Yeti, but whatever the brand of thermal mug it is, having your logo on the side means you're front and center, means you're top of mind. The more places you can be top of mind, the better. Visit printshop5.com. Printshop5.com. Learn so much more about the merchandising and everything you can slap your logo on at printshop5.com. Coming back with Johnny Dunham and Ned Fasullo next. Yeller on these two.
BobbyTickets.com. We did when we redid the production stuff with LSU the other day. We're gonna have the big huge screen down, the band separated, and the singers come this way, but on the screen we'll have images of him and stuff during his career, and sealed in with the sponsor logos and stuff like that. And then at intermission, we're gonna run Crime Stoppers information up on the screen. We'll put together we're gonna put it together with you what you want to be up there. I'm gonna get you tickets to give away.
Okay.
However many you want to give away.
August 2nd.
We want to talk about the corporate kiosk program and his new website too.
Okay.
It's still the same.
Do what?
Still CrimeStoppers225.com.
Okay.
Newly designed. We had AI on it, but that didn't work.
Yeah, that one's not with Crime Stoppers.
We hit up things on the Facebook page yesterday, so I wasn't even on the website yesterday.
Yeah, and then just redid it for us. So.
818 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got a bonus Crime Stopper segment coming up in just a quick second. Do need to remind you about the folks over at Vex European, VEX. It's V as in Vinny. VexEuropean.com is where I take my car. Why? I have an 18-year-old vehicle. I have an 18-year-old Mercedes-Benz, and it takes a lot of TLC to make sure that bad boy is still running at its peak performance rate. And that's what Vinny and his team do. I am paired with a master-level technician for Mercedes. If you drive a BMW, they've got you there. Jaguar, Land Rover, Audi, you name it. If you drive a European vehicle, check out VexEuropean.com. Get yourself paired with a master-level tech for your make of vehicle, and Vinny will have you taken care of. Get yourself a little Vexpertise over at VexEuropean.com. You can make your appointment right there on the website, but before you do, click the little specials tab. See if you can't save $100 on your first visit at VexEuropean.com. All right, not the normal Crime Stoppers time, but John, can we play the intro anyway? Let's go. And normally this is where Don Coppola would be barreling into the studio, but we've got Johnny Dunham, we've got Ned Fasullo. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Doing good.
Pretty good, man.
Glad to have you all in. We got a lot of ground to cover here. No, we're not looking for individual criminals today, but we do have a lot of Crime Stoppers news to talk about. Johnny, where do you want to start?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, Crime Stoppers is a nonprofit. I know we talk a lot about crime and stuff, but we are a nonprofit, and we do have fundraisers to raise the money to pay the rewards for the anonymous tips that we get. So we're here, I guess, to talk about our concert that Ned's putting on for us.
All right, then let's move it on over to Ned. Ned Fasullo's in the house. Concert coming up. When? Tell me all about what we're going to hear.
So, the band and I, we do these charity concerts now twice a year, and we always, look for new and unique nonprofits that have unique missions to raise a little bit of money for. Last summer was the Zoo Foundation, which you remember, I think.
Yeah.
So we hooked up with Crime Stoppers, and we've put together this. They're always the Salute 2 shows, and we've done Frank Sinatra a couple times. We've done Dean Martin. Now we're doing one for Bobby Darin, for all of Bobby Darin's music. The fans have been asking for something like that.
Okay.
And so we put that together. We met up with Crime Stoppers, and they were kind enough to want to jump on board. And so we put this big show together for August 2nd. It's at LSU Union Theater, as always.
Okay.
And it's going to actually feature several surprise guest singers as well as myself this time. So it's going to be a nice production.
Okay. Surprise guest singers coming in to sing Bobby Darin. I would say my first one would be, Mac the Knife is going to be on that set list?
All of the hits. And, what's interesting, Bobby Darin doesn't just do big band. He has rock. He's got some pop. He was one of those crossovers way before there was a crossover.
Okay.
So we're kind of running that whole gamut. And then We have some, our female vocalists. They're going to do some of their cool stuff as well, and the band as well. So
Okay, very cool stuff. So concert's coming up on August 2nd. You said at LSU.
at LSU Union Theater.
All right. So we're going to give out the website a number of times. So
Yeah.
let's give it out now. Where do you go to buy tickets?
Super easy. BobbyTickets.com.
BobbyTickets.com, and we'll remind you that as we make our way through the segment this morning. The pairing with Crime Stoppers. What made you want to pull that string? What made you want to say these are who we want to be paired with?
Well, I guess unfortunately I need to credit my wife for that because my wife is doing some work with Johnny on some things behind the scenes, and we were talking about a show, and she's like, "You really should look at these guys." And my first response was, "Crime Stoppers? How does that?" I said, "What's the deal with that?" Because I only knew it very superficially.
Mhm.
So Johnny and I met, and it turns out that it's one of the coolest nonprofit missions out there, and shortly thereafter, my company and he became partners on some projects.
Okay.
And so it's like it just kind of blossomed from there. And so we're working with them across the board on a couple different things.
Let's bring Johnny back in here.
Yeah.
Johnny Dunham, Executive Director of Crime Stoppers. Let's talk about the pairing here. I mean, it's this is a no-brainer. It's a great concert.
Absolutely.
Ned does an awesome job every
Yep.
time out. But sharing your mission with him, talk about that end of it.
Yeah, we kind of sharing our mission with Ned. He understood the need for us to, I guess, not only get our messaging out to the public about crime-related issues, but also the need for fundraising.
Mhm.
And so he has a lot of great ideas. He's worked on our website, made some changes to our website, as well as our kiosk program. We already have these kiosks that we have all over the DMV and different places that run our most wanted individuals as well as unsolved crimes. And Ned kind of had an idea to tie that in with some branding and other types of issues.
Elaborate on the kiosks a little bit, because the only one I've seen the one at police headquarters. But what brought that idea into real life?
Actually, Sid Newman was the old executive director that brought the original kiosk idea.
Mhm.
We have 6 or 7 kiosks that are around Ascension, Livingston, Baton Rouge area that, kind of run through the different most wanteds and unsolved crimes. But Ned had a great idea, like, let's use this in a positive way for Crime Stoppers, maybe commercially, and help make Crime Stoppers, give Crime Stoppers some funding for the rewards. We've got our 48 hours rewards boost where we're increasing our reward amount. So, we have to have the funding to be able to increase those rewards.
When you step up to the kiosk, I mean, is that another opportunity to make tips, or do you still have to?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and the idea is to create this behind this program was nonprofits always need a sustainable way to operate, right?
Yes.
It's not all about give us money and we operate. So, donations are great, but one of the things we do at Velocity Partners Group, which is my firm, is we try to help nonprofits with creating sustainable revenue streams that don't affect donations so that they can run. So this kiosk network kind of thing, and I've done them before in schools for other missions, but I was telling Johnny, if you had these really nice kiosks that a company could sponsor and brand the front of, and then there's ads on the kiosk around the Crime Stoppers info, you create a way for the mission to continue and find ways for companies to be more involved with the mission. Because honestly, I mean, look, the cops need help, right? And
right.
Crime Stoppers does a fantastic job apprehending these fugitives and helping with cold cases and things. So what if there was a network of screens out there in high traffic areas like the malls, city buildings, the DMVs, things like that, where it was just more prevalent and there were more eyes on it that could interact with it. And that's where it came from.
Love it. How big is this going to grow?
9 parishes.
Yeah, that's right. Nope.
I mean, the potential's certainly there.
Yeah.
What does it take to get it done, though? Is it just more
we're-
partnerships?
More partnerships. We're already down the road of that. We're looking at, we possibly have a large donor that wants to step up and buy the kiosks for them.
Okay.
And then we'll start looking to partner with companies for either sponsoring the kiosks or putting the ads on them. And those ads could be from any business that just wants the exposure. So it all supports what they're doing and it drives the mission. But Our goal is our personal goal at the company, working with him is within 24 months, we'd like to see 75 to 100 kiosks out there across the 9 parishes.
I mean, and it sounds like a lot, but when you spread that out over 9 parishes,
It's not
it
a lot,
really reduces down very, very quickly. And I'm glad there's an emphasis on all 9 parishes here, because we often think of Crime Stoppers when we think of Crime Stoppers, we think of things going on in Baton Rouge, because we're in Baton Rouge, right?
That's right.
So, but I mean, how often is it that we're chasing something that Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office is looking for,
That's right.
or Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office, or kicking up to St. Francisville, whatever.
And you say 9, we've recently added Assumption Parish, and I know Don and I haven't really discussed this, but we met with the sheriff and Assumption, and they were kind of stuck in between the New Orleans and Baton Rouge area.
Yeah.
But their media, the television stations, the radio stations like yourself, they cover Assumption Parish. So when they want to release information, it just made more sense for them to be
Okay.
Capital Region Crime Stoppers.
Okay.
And you're going to see a lot more from these guys. We're doing some limited billboard campaigns, some streaming TV ads for these guys across these parishes. So our job is to get Crime Stoppers way out in front of everybody and to make sure that people know where to go with the tips.
We've got Johnny Dunham, Executive Director of Crime Stoppers, and Ned Fasullo in studio talking a little bit about Crime Stoppers. We're going to get back to the concert here in just a minute, but man, it's been a minute since I've been on the website. Y'all did some work here.
Complete overhaul, and it wasn't necessarily a bad former website. It was just we're going in a little different direction visually to match up some things that we're doing out in the world. We're gonna employ some other types of AI in the site at some point in the near future that can help with the tips. The kiosks we're toying with being touchscreens, so people can interact and QR and stuff like that. So,
okay, so the how do you say employing AI into this? In what way?
Well, we do things like AI chats and AI voice responses on our website customers to just help them manage what's the incoming people to the website and what they're able to do. We did test the AI, but then we saw people trying to put tips through it.
Yeah, we couldn't
Not
have
what it's
that.
for. So it's more about education. So we'll probably employ the AI stuff like on the corporate kiosk program, where people can interact with it and learn about the program, and it'll tell them what they need to know, tell them where to sign up for it, and things like that. But that's stuff we do with a lot of clients.
All right, very cool stuff. But the basics are still all there.
Yeah,
The photos, the unsolved crimes, the wanted suspects, all of these things are still there.
It is
at the touch.
it is mobile, a little more mobile friendly. It's got a full e-commerce platform behind it, so everything that they do for their luncheon or for things like that, you can go right on and buy tickets. You can sponsor something. It doesn't require very much interaction with humans.
I got about a minute left, so let's circle back around to the concert featuring the hits of Bobby Darin. Johnny, what's your favorite Bobby Darin song?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's Mac the Knife.
Yeah. I thought you might pull out like a Splish Splash.
Splish Splash, that's something, yeah. I mean, my dad used to sing that all the time. So,
what's your favorite, Ned?
Oh, definitely the song it's called Charade.
Charade.
Yeah, it's a song a lot of people did, but his version of it is ridiculous. It's pretty good.
Gonna have to listen to that one.
Yeah, I know. So one more time, coming up August 2nd. Give us all the details one more time.
August 2nd, 7 p.m. at the LSU Union Theater. The ticket link is bobbytickets.com. There's still some sponsorship slots available if anybody's interested, and you can buy VIP tickets, which gets you into the 6 o'clock pre-party to meet the band, take pictures, and stuff like that, which has been pretty popular.
bobbytickets.com, bobbytickets.com. Johnny, Ned, thank y'all so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. 8:30 at Talk 107.3 FM. Quick break when we come back. Foodie Friday, presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, is next.
Foodie Friday.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Got that done.
We'll come back and see you in late July, if you want. Yeah. And I'll bring the tickets too, so we can give them away on air if you want.
Let's wait on giveaways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All right, man. All right, we appreciate it.
How did Don do yesterday? He did okay.
Oh, he's great. He's great. He didn't. I didn't trip him up yesterday with anything, did I?
Oh, you gotta keep embarrassing.
I tried to. Oh, wait, we had one. Was it yesterday or was it last week?
That's my favorite.
Guy was fondling himself in the store.
Oh, obscenity charge. Okay.
Yes. And I was like, oh, Memorial Day sale, they get me excited too.
I bet he didn't know what what to say. That's my favorite part. Is when you zing with something, he just can't.
It just
Mine just doesn't work.
the wires get crossed. He goes all haywire. Yeah, he was not ready for that. Come on in.
See how bad my driving was, depending on what moved and didn't. Oh, not too bad, not too bad.
Oh, this is gorgeous.
Okay, where you want to put it?
We're right in the middle of the table here, and yeah, all this is going to disappear quickly when sales comes down. Sorry, we don't have a normal garbage can because our monitor fell off the wall.
You want me to throw it? I can upstairs.
So we're propping that up with this. Let me get you the picture so when we post on demand.
Yes.
Dude, get that out of the way up front. Alrighty then. What kind of sausage?
Okay, so we have brisket sausage, beef.
I thought so.
We have ribeye sliders,
Okay.
beef, brisket, and then Wagyu hot dog.
Yeah. And John, we'll cut that hot dog into little pieces so everybody can come down. After the show's over, sales always comes down and pillages everything we do.
So, whoa. So, I mean, steaks are like our big. Who's this for?
Kevin Ford, he just left them in here last night.
Steaks are our biggest seller, but it's so hard because it's early in the morning to get them cooked and stuff, so I didn't bring any. But if you want to talk about steaks, and if you want to talk about, I think the best deal in our whole store is the filet medallions. So it's the ends of the tenderloin, and they come in little bitty medallions, and it's a little bit less expensive than the filet, and you just pan-sear that for a couple minutes, and it's phenomenal.
Okay. Filet medallions. And we don't have to just talk about beef. We sample some beef because it's the sponsor, and but we could talk about the entire menu.
Okay.
So
Do you mind taking a picture of me and Brian? Just like we'll pretend like we're talking or something.
Yeah, usually I take.
Oh, you do? Okay.
But yeah, either we want to post for it or you want to.
no, all good, all good.
Can you get Chris's in the background?
Yeah,
Thank you.
got to have that up there for sure.
Awesome. Tressy, Tressy, Linedecker.
And John, once we're in, if you want to come around here, pick up the whole board to show it off up close. We only have the one camera, so we're not all fancy like upstairs on ESPN.
Damn them.
I know. Gordy spends all the
I'm
money
gonna
on
say
them.
something to Gordy when I leave here.
Well, look, we can't even keep our monitor on the wall, so I don't think we'd be trusted with more technical equipment.
We could talk.
Play the other weather.
If you want to talk about the stores, or if you want to talk about the restaurant piece at the Highland store, we do lunches Monday through Friday.
Yes. Ooh, it'll give me a chance to brag on Haspel because I was just there for the Haspel Trunk Show.
Oh. I actually texted her yesterday. I wanted a seersucker dress.
So they're doing the women's clothing now, and it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy was wearing a women's jacket.
Yeah.
Which my wife is very conservative in the way she, and I think this would, if she could just open up just a little bit to it, this would be perfect for her.
Mm-hmm,
so.
mm-hmm.
So Emma Kate posted on TikTok last night that she was in the process of making a major life decision. I have a feeling she's been picked up in a bigger market. I have a feeling she's about to move. I mean, I don't talk to her regularly, but she has really elevated her game over the last year.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if it was like the next announcement isn't like I'm moving to like Nashville or something.
That's good stuff for her.
No,
for us.
For her, it's great. For us,
it's
we're gonna be
great. For
stuck
us.
with Harry Potter again. Sorry, I know it makes me seem old, but every day you have your chief meteorologist and then you have teenagers.
Yes.
It just
There are a lot of teenagers, or they all look 12. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a Foodie Friday open, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I don't know why.
Drawing a blank?
838, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. All right. As the week winds down on, as far as the morning, that's the best part about a morning show, right? As our week winds down, everybody else has still got that full day worth of work to get in. Yeah. All right, so this is how we do. Well, you know how we do. It's time for Foodie Friday. Welcoming in Chris's Specialty Foods to the show this week. We've got Tressie Leindecker in with us. Tressie, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great.
Glad to have you in here. Normally it's Coben that comes by. So I appreciate you pinch hitting this week to talk a little bit about beef, but I really want to talk about Chris's as well. So thank you for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. We gave him the day off, so you got me.
Okay. Does he get a whole lot of those?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't imagine. So he's so passionate every time he's in here and does a fantastic job. All right, we are going to talk beef. We are going to talk a lot about beef because this is the Beef Industry Council brings us this. And over at Chris's, y'all celebrate beef in so many different ways. Give us the run. I tell you what, start with what's on the board here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're passionate about beef as well. It's definitely our number one sellers is our steaks. We have tons of fillets and ribeyes. But as far as what I brought in today, a couple of different beef items. We have our ribeye sliders. So we take the trimmings from the ribeye and make sliders out of it. We have our brisket sausage as well as just our regular brisket. And I want to talk about that for a second.
Yep.
And then finally, we have one of your favorites, which is the Wagyu hot dog.
Well, the Wagyu hot dog is so because the term hot dog makes you think one thing, but as soon as you take a bite of this, it's like this is not a hot dog. I mean, it is a thick-packed sausage to be sure, but the amount of flavor because fat is flavor and Wagyu has plenty of fat in it, but the amount of flavor that goes into this hot dog, it pops every ounce of the bite. It's not something that you get on the front end or on the back end. It's the whole way through. The Wagyu hot dog is sheer perfection.
It is absolutely great. We have the restaurant portion of Chris's on Highland, and every once in a while the chef will do his special as the Wagyu hot dog.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get a really good hot dog anywhere unless you're at a game or a concert. So
Right.
people come in just to get the Wagyu hot dog.
Right. And I mean, think about it. Sometimes you'll get an all-beef hot dog, or if you're,
Sure.
cheap and in the grocery store, you'll get that.
The red hot dog.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was going to say what the mix was inside there, but we'll just call them the red hot dogs for sure. But no, when you go with an all-beef hot dog and then you step it up a notch to Wagyu, it is incredible. Don't get bogged down on the word hot dog. It is an entirely different experience. Meanwhile, over at Chris's, I mean, you said y'all do a lot of steaks. The filet medallions. That's one of y'all's like primo. This is where you're getting the best from Chris's.
Yeah, so it's actually one of my favorites. I've quit eating the filet and I eat the medallions. So basically, when we get our tenderloins and we trim them and then cut them for the individual packed fillets, we take the tips of the tenderloins and then we cut them into little medallions. It's a little bit less expensive than a filet, again, it's actually one of my favorite. You just pan sear that a minute or two on each side, and it is perfect.
Yeah, if that. I mean, it's so quick because it's, I mean, when you're talking about a medallion, it's not, not like you're cooking through a 2-inch thick, full-on fillet. So you got to be attentive,
Yes,
to be sure.
no doubt.
Attentive to be sure. And then a little salt and pepper on top of it, and they are good to go. They are beyond phenomenal. This is, of course, presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Check them out online at beefitswhatsfordinner.com, beefitswhatsfordinner.com. Beef is fuel for your body at every stage of your life. When you're talking about the protein, when you're talking about iron, when you're talking about 10 different vitamins and minerals, you can learn more about that at beefitswhatsfordinner.com. Or if you wanted to, while you're there, you could pull up some recipes, learn a few tips, learn a few tricks, a few hacks along the way to up your grill game over the summer with beefitswhatsfordinner.com. But let's talk a little bit more about Chris's Specialty Foods overall. I mean, y'all celebrate beef, but you celebrate so much more than that. For those who are unfamiliar with Chris's, who are you? What do you do?
Sure. So we've been in business little over 30 years. Originated in Vermilion Parish, came to Baton Rouge because there was obviously a lack of good Cajun deboned stuffed chicken and boudin, and so it's been a great run for 30 years. Our staple product that we sell is the deboned chicken. Comes in several different flavors. We'll stuff it with crawfish, with shrimp, with boudin, with rice dressing. And then we're also known for our boudin. We do it a little bit different. It's got full texture. We don't mush the rice. You're getting almost like a rice and gravy with some Boston butt and some rice in that link of boudin. And then we round out our third most popular with our steaks. The majority of what we sell is choice, but it's so upper choice, I would put it up against a prime steak any day of the week.
Do y'all still do the deer processing?
We do.
Okay. And that's not at all locations, though.
No. Well, you can drop off anything at either any of our locations and we get it to Millerville. Okay. But all of our processing is done, and our deer processing is done at our Millerville location.
And for those that don't know, they've got the Millerville location. You are off of Highland Road. I want to talk about that in a minute. Still down in Lakeview, right?
Uh-huh.
Down in New Orleans. You'll find Chris is there as well. In Prairieville? Or
no, we actually moved to Central. We are in Wildcat Nation. Yes.
Good to know. What's the address? Do you know the address offhand in Central?
No, it's on Wax Road right behind the Walmart.
See, that's what we need. We don't need a street address. Wax Road behind the Walmart. Look for Chris's Specialty Foods in Central. Let's go back to that Highland Road location, though, real quick. I was over there a couple weeks ago. Haspel did a trunk show.
Yeah.
They did it over at Chris's, which love me some Haspel. Cannot get enough when it comes to Haspel. And National Seersucker Day was a week ago. Yesterday. It was June 12th. The Highland Road location is a bit different for y'all because it's like a full-on, you can go in there, sit down, and eat.
Yes. So we do lunch Monday through Friday, and it's been great. A little scary, we've been on the other side of the food business, if you will, packaging, but now we're doing lunches. And the thought there was kind of taking what our Cajun cooking is and bringing it to, the lunch table, the lunch crowd. Letting people get to taste our rice dressing or some of our specialties like our ribeye sliders, and then they can just pick up whatever they love and bring it home for dinner at a later date. But it's going well. The community has been receptive, and it's pretty exciting.
So you talk about the Cajun flair there, but if I'm not mistaken, Chris is on Highland, and I know it's not every Friday, but Chris is on Highland is one of the only places in Baton Rouge where you can get a lobster roll.
It actually is every Friday.
It is every Friday.
It is, yeah. We started doing it as a specialty, and then the demand was so high, we just put it on there every Friday. But we have a warm lobster roll, a cold lobster roll, and then a couple of weeks ago, Chef did a favor for me and made me a lobster grilled cheese, and it was awesome. So it's on the menu as well.
The lobster grilled cheese is on the menu?
Yes.
Taking notes.
I'd love, you know what? During Lobster Month or Lobster Day, we need to do a taste testing and let you pick. Do you rather the cold or the hot?
So you give me a lobster mac and cheese, and I'm there.
Yeah.
The lobster roll, by the way, I've had the hot one. I haven't had y'all's cold one yet, and I definitely haven't had the grilled cheese yet. But the hot one is just, it's so, like, you talk about your Cajun, the Cajun background and celebrating the boudin and all the Cajun food, everything. That has all the pop and flavor of coming from Boston, Maine, wherever. Like, it's like, okay, whoever did this did their homework first.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a great chef, Chef Carey, and all of our dishes are his. He kind of takes our recipes and then he puts his own flair. But yes, the lobster roll was completely him. We definitely didn't have it in our Cajun cookbook, and it everyone comes on Friday. So if you're listening right now, come see us today. We have them.
You get the lobster. It says Friday lobster fado. Well, so I've got next week's menu open right now.
Okay.
Next week's menu for lunch. Monday the specials: the meatball po' boy with Cajun marinara. Tuesday special: Chris's own boudin stuffed chicken, topped with a roasted chicken veloute. I don't even know that word. Veloute. John, what you got? All right, cool. I got it right. Wednesday's a chicken fried steak with mashed potatoes and Cajun gravy. Thursday's pork rice and gravy with corn makshu. And then they got the lobster fado dough on Friday. So you're getting something creative from Chris's every single day of the week. It's not your everyday lunch plate right there. With Chris's, y'all put a lot of emphasis on like letting your chef be creative, letting all your people be creative.
Yeah, we absolutely do. We have some really good people. We have everything from, Twyla, who works with us. She is just what you would call, your grandma's recipes. I mean, if you want a home cooked meal, she does it right. And that's kind of what we wanted. I think our community has kind of lost eating dinner at the table and so forth. And so bringing people back together at the table, like that's what we want to accomplish.
Absolutely. And that's the whole purpose of this segment. It is when you're up in your grilling game, people come together and eat. When people come together, you're eating, you're having a good time, you're breaking bread. It's that time to grow relationships and build relationships. And I love that y'all's passion and what y'all do. This is Foodie Friday presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. So we've got Your Money Now coming up in just a quick minute. Yeah, I know. We got the door open. So right down the hall, sorry, let me get off on this. Right down the hall is Eagle 98.1 and Richard Condon, who I don't even think he has a microphone. I think he just shouts at 100,000 watts. But there are air conditioners out in their studio. So Condon's got his door open with a fan blowing in. So when we got my door open and his door open, then it's like, can anybody concentrate?
I got to visit with him. I'm a Condon fan.
He is the best. This is Foodie Friday presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. We got 1 minute until break. When we go into break, here's what we do. On air, it's going to be Your Money Now. Quick break and then a look at traffic. On Facebook Live, presented by Lake Urgent Care. On Facebook Live, we do the taste test. We do it every week. We'll give the full review when we come back, but I don't really want to stuff my face on the air. So I just leave that for the Facebook audience right there. But see, here's the thing, though, Tressie, is I already know what I'm getting. Like everything on that board I've had before, and y'all bring a level of consistency and professionalism to it, which is awesome. So,
do I have 1 second to talk about the brisket?
You do.
Okay.
You have 20 seconds to talk about the brisket.
Okay, so the brisket we do in-house. We smoke it 8 hours. We do all the work. And then we vacuum pack it in a bag already smoked. All you got to do is take that vacuum bag and drop it in boiling water for 15 minutes, and it is moist and fresh, and it is a phenomenal brisket, and we've done all the work for you.
On air, here's Your Money Now. You nailed that. That was right on point. Okay, so we're still on Facebook Live.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you nailed it.
So don't cuss.
What? Well, the FCC's not on Facebook Live, so, All right. I'm going to run downstairs and get a knife so I'm not putting my hands all over and my mouth all over everybody else's stuff. John, while I run downstairs, can you take that board and put it in front of the camera so you can see everything up close? Tracy, I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, my big old hands.
No, you're good. Just playing around with the Facebook group.
You know what I didn't bring is like mayo or mustard or some kind of dipping condiment. bring you a hat to put in here.
Yes.
Hey, voisin.
We don't really feel it yet. Okay.
What you been up to?
How much are you?
Good, good.
Doing grandma stuff?
Hot grandma stuff.
Summertime? Camp Tressie?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
COVID get happy?
September.
Oh, okay. Why don't you hot dog?
I didn't bring any condiments.
Mints are overrated.
What y'all been up to?
Just this stuff. Got some vacation coming up, but with the extension of baseball season, it's kind of kept us busy.
Yeah.
Not too bad. Annabelle's in summer camp.
How old is she now?
Yeah, she's in 7.
Oh my God, I can remember when she was born.
Yep.
Time flies.
Trying to read books. Trying to get used to my sister for her birthday. She's been into How to Train Your Dragon movies, so they've been buying her some books. And she's been getting into like reading a little bit at a time. So yeah, see that new movie? She wants to, and it was I had told her I was gonna take her this weekend, and now with the LSU game, it's like we gotta find a window. I already said we're gonna go do that. But yeah, I want to take my flying by. How old is your oldest grandchild?
She's 4.
Okay, so just a couple years behind.
Yep. So I got 4, 10 months, and then Kendall just had a baby 2 months ago. So, yeah. Caleb was telling me the other day that he thinks Kyle Williams' son is going to start as an 8th grader at Dunham, DB. Yeah. I know. Alabama just offered him. Mm-hmm.
Offered who?
The quarterback at Dunham. He's the number 1 in the nation.
What the heck going on over there at Dunham?
He's a great kid. He's been at Dunham his whole. You okay?
The brisket. It's like so moist, so fall apart. Like,
and all I did this morning was take that bag and drop it in boiling water.
unbelievable.
It went
So
from
good.
freezer to that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think people make the mistake. They take it home, they cut the bag open, and then they reheat it like in the oven, and it dries it out. That keeps it moist.
Like a sous vide.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah, we were sous vide before sous vide was sexy.
Blaine Besh turned me on that. Got an emergency circulator, and I've never looked back. I'll drop a ribeye in a sous vide, leave it there for 4 hours at like, what, 124, 125.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. But like the proteins break down, the fat gets infused into everything. It's, you know how Cajun food tastes better the next day because it's had time to sit longer?
The seasonings.
That's the same thing without overcooking anything. Yep. I see where you're working, John. Got the crossover there with Bobby Darin and the summertime theme that you had going on all day long.
Yeah.
I like it. It is the first day of summer, of course. And it is the heart of grilling season. And we've got Chris's Specialty Foods in the house for Foodie Friday, presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Tressie Leindecker's with us. Tressie, as I was trying everything during the break, and I've gotten to most of it so far, But as I was trying everything during the break, you had mentioned as I was running in and out, said I forgot to bring condiments, and I'm thinking with the Wagyu hot dog, how dare you? Don't put anything on that. Let it run the show, because when you bite in, the flavor just bursts right away. It is that Wagyu beef. It is. I mean, it's still like in a sausage format, but it's still the Wagyu beef. So it has all the flavor and pop and punch that you would get from Wagyu. There's a little bit of seasoning already built into that, I could tell. But on top of that, is that kind of like more of a Texas toast type of bun, or did you all just like butter and grill the bun a little bit?
Yeah, so that's actually the bun that our lobster roll is on as well.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we kind of spread butter on it and then grill it for a second. And, it gives it that buttery, moist,
Yeah, I couldn't imagine what condiment I would want to add to that, because I don't think anything added to it would take away from it. The Wagyu hot dog is the star of the show. Let it be the star of the show. It does not need a supporting cast at all. Meanwhile, the ribeye sliders, I did add the pickle and lettuce on top of that. They're phenomenal. The ribeye, the meat you get within that is just, it's so moist, it's so flavorful as well. And normally when I see a slider, it's cooked the whole way through. With a ribeye, you have the leniency to kind of peel back a little bit, maybe leave it a little pink on the inside or a little more pink on the inside.
Yeah, these are definitely a little bit more pink on the inside. I wouldn't do it with traditional ground beef, but yes, you're right, because it's the trimmings of the ribeye. You absolutely can. We also sell a pack, 1 pound packs of the ribeye raw. So you can, if you want to make a spaghetti or meatballs, or you can definitely buy our ground ribeye in a pack.
Okay. Ribeye meatballs. I might have to give that some consideration.
It's one of my kids' favorite meals that I cook at home. I get the ground ribeye. I make meatballs out of it. I blacken it in a cast iron skillet, and then I make a rice and gravy with it. So meatball stew out of ribeye.
We're getting down to the wire here, so I want to make sure I cover everything. You'd mentioned the brisket y'all smoke for 8 hours, you said, and then it goes in the vacuum seal pack, and then when you're preparing it after the fact, just throw the vacuum seal bag into boiling water, kind of like a sous vide sort of situation there. Immersion circulator if you got it, but if not, just boiling water for 15 minutes. I got to tell you, when I've been into this, the level of tender, I was not ready for this to be that tender of a cut of meat.
Yeah, and honestly, it took me 15 minutes this morning. It went from freezer to that, and it is the concept of sous vide, and it keeps the moisture and the flavors intact.
And of course, the brisket sausage is always phenomenal as well. You know where to find them. They're on Millerville. They're on Highland. They're now on Central. And, of course, down in New Orleans on Lakeview. It's Chris's Specialty Foods, our special guest for this Foodie Friday. Tressie, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, on air, we got to go on Facebook Live. Stick around for another minute.
Okay.
So normally we stick around for a little bit longer on Facebook Live, but today I just wanted to make sure I've had a chance to say brisket sausage, y'all. It's a whole nother level as well. If you go side by side, the Wagyu hot dog versus the brisket sausage, you're set. If you grab those two things, you're set on the grill and you're a friggin' hero all 4th of July. So go see Chris's Specialty Foods, whichever location is closest to you, before you're firing up the grill this weekend or anytime throughout the summer. Thank y'all. We'll see you Monday.